Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for week number 4 of the ECAC top 8 plays of the week. Now at this point you're probably realizing two things. One, that's right, I'm going to be with you all season long as we jump through the best moments of every week. And number 2, wow, Septilence really only wears one thing when he's not on the clock. And I can't even defend myself, it's a comfortable outfit. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into week number 4 and see what these players brought to the table to beat out their opponents and be victorious. Wake Forest was already up a game, there were 4 minutes left on the clock, and they just couldn't find that first point to take the lead and put them up 2-0 in the series. But in a final moment of success, Malone clears it from one coast to another and finds an open goal, giving Wake Forest the lead once again.
These Champ 3 and Champ 2 is doing. I mean, seriously, look at Malone making advantages for himself.
Wow.
And he will put Wake Forest on the map. This game number 5 could just go their way.
I just want to say Malone just said, I'm going to show you what a Champ 3 can do. All right, buddy?
On a control map in Overwatch, your team must capture 100% of a point to succeed. 99 just won't cut it. King Rock from Keene University was fully aware of that and didn't just find a Death Blossom. He found a full-blown Death Garden to keep his team alive.
Sound barrier to go away as well, especially now that you have your own. It's going to be a little bit more breathing room. Doesn't look like the one. Okay, there we are. Now it's coming up big. This Reaper has bloomed.
That was just gorgeous amount of patience coming.
GVSU Blue found themselves up by 5 rounds, and it's always better to turn that 5 into a 6. It's incredible, however, that this team doesn't always need all 5. It can come down to just one player and how much they can really GVS do.
An Illusion delivers with efficiency. 3 in a row. No time left, even if they had the chance at Orbital Strike out of the last.
This battle between Muskingum and St. Francis was insanely close. Only 3 players in a round, and there were 1 player left on both sides, both down to their final stock. Things were looking pretty strong for St. Francis, their Luigi only at 40%, but it was up to Splat to do anything but.
Just keep him off stage with that Zare. Oh,
If
that spot right here for Teo.
If that block didn't disappear,
Oh,
no way.
Oh, just steps on the
pressure plate.
A tale as old as time, Pace White versus Pace Gold, and Pace White's morale was through the roof as they won a fight, but little did they know, this was Lofi's world, and they wouldn't be living in it for much longer.
Going in with the blade.
Uh-oh, Blade is out. It's hacked. It doesn't matter, though. Slashes away for 2. Looking for a 3rd. Looking for 4. Won't get it just yet on the Blade. However, the slash and dash works out. Lofi's got 3. Looking for everybody else on this team. It's a white.
The Inkling versus Ganondorf matchup is not very good for Ganondorf, but let's be honest, which matchups are? In this clip, we're going to be watching as JD from Fisher learns the hard way that you never really want to meet an Inkling off stage.
Sooner if you don't find that kill confirm or that kill or a bomb off stage like that.
That bomb angle
is so good today.
Yeah, that bomb angle was beautiful.
Week 4 of ECAC Rocket League was absolutely insane. CMU and FC were tied up 0-0, but it was Gand who told FC they shall not pass game number 2.
Side of FC, they've only got 1 player for a moment there. They're trying to recollect, they're trying to reposition, but how do you position around a pinpoint accurate shot like this? Gand goes crossbar down for the first goal.
Adams in reverse. Backed the defense off with that.
Whenever I'm on the mic for Valorant, you'll often hear the line, check your corners, repeated over and over and over again. And even with me not on the mic to tell them, I have a feeling this team may have learned that lesson.
Nah, he's got to take the shot.
Take it.
Oh yeah, just sounds of teammates running on through and come on, dive. the 4K on a completely unaware trio. And it's 11-0 right now.
And those are the top 8 moments we thought deserved just a little bit more time in the spotlight of week number 4 here at ECAC. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're interested in what ECAC has going on, we got something happening nearly every day of the week. So check us out right here. Editor, that's a challenge for you. Wink, wink. And folks, this has been all from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy this, and we've got plenty of weeks down the line. Can't wait to see what comes of them.
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's gonna
jumped into it.
Corner judge is good for 1, 2, yeah, he needs more.
They're doing even more here. You gotta touch the point. Mr. College walks it in. Toy Boy is gonna drop.
Knife him.
Right out in front.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, running.
And welcome everyone here to a lovely Friday afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are tuning into some collegiate League of Legends action. I'm very excited to be here at the start of a brand new season. Of course, to some of the teams, it is just the continuation of the year for them. But for us, we get to see some all new action as we are now on a brand new season of League of Legends, one that some people love to hate and hate to love, depending if you're excited for the Aurelion Sol rework or not. My name is Orbital. With me is the most fantastic minion to ever wander off the rift. It is Random Minion Caster. RMC, how you doing?
Doing good, still worth only 14 gold, even off the rift here. But Orbital, like you said, new season, new year here, and ECAC week 1. We've got some changes. We are covering Division A here, the top division, but there have been some changes. Division A, this split will be Platinum and up here. So there is a bit of a widespread coming through the two teams tonight. Army, West Point Esports, formerly in Division A here, they were actually 3rd place last split. So they're a really, really strong team coming up against them here. Lethbridge College Kodiaks. Now, they just got promoted up from Division B. So, kind of newcomers to the league, and they've got a tough one facing up against the bronze, or shouldn't say bronze in the League of Legends game, but the 3rd place team from last split.
Yeah, there are some very, very stark differences between bronze in League of Legends and bronze in any other competition, apparently, because, you know what, esports loves to be different, and we love to make bronze one of the rougher areas, but it is true, right? Coming out as one of the heavy favorites in that fall season, to say, hey, this is going to be a tough matchup would be almost an understatement, right? This Army West Point squad has shown that they can do some amazing stuff, and the fact that we have a brand new season coming in here means that teams have had to adapt, and in those situations, we've seen those top teams go ahead and decide, hey, we're good with it. We have no problem whatsoever in adapting to the new meta, whether it be some aggressive changes or those random, you know, interesting champions, let's say. The meta pool right now is one that I, as a mid laner, love. As an overall, you know, caster of League of Legends, let's just say I'm not too thrilled about what's going on here.
Fair enough. Personally, I'm actually pretty happy with, you know, how things are going with the meta. A couple of gripes I still have, you know, with Lucian Nami, despite the fact we are on patch 13.1b. Lucian Nami did get a bit of a nerf. I still think they're way too strong. Cassante in that top side, you know, almost feels like a must pick or ban, but meta aside here, Orbital, there are changes within these rosters themselves. Both teams running substitutes tonight. Kodiak's actually with 3 new players coming in here. Food Battle, Zed Pies, as well as Pikey here. And for Army West Point, they've got some swaps. They've got substitutes coming in the mid and support positions here. And for Army West Point, the substitutes are interesting because this particular team is actually Army West Point's 2nd team. And the substitutes are coming in from their main team. So, if anything, they're even more mechanically monstrous.
Yes, we are getting a little bit of an upgrade, but we are already into Champion Select because, my gosh, the teams cannot get ready, cannot be more excited for this match. Let's go ahead, take a look. We are on to game number 1, Army West Point on blue side and Lethbridge College on the red. And, of course, we already see the main bans that you have to see thrown all the frickin' time. Cassidy, first ban out the gate. Caitlyn, of course, banned away. And then the Maokai on Lethbridge College. Elise is one that, of course, a lot of people might be going, what the heck, Elise? Yes, Elise is absolutely monstrous right now. I hate it. And, of course, there's your illusion that you were talking about, RMC. You got to ban it away if you are not going for that ADC right off the bat.
So, yeah, I guess, it's a wise choice removing that. And we see the one non-standard non-sort of meta ban come through, the Akshan here, targeted specifically at Nico on that top side.
Yep, just that one little pickup of like, yeah, we can't give that to you. But of course that leaves open Azeri, which is a Jeju's, I wouldn't say most common pick, but it's going to be one that is played to peak efficiency. And it's a very nice pickup here. That does mean that the Varus, which was fought over back in Worlds of 2022, is going to be making a return here at L to counter out that Zeri.
Yeah, and in fact, we've actually seen sort of the triumvirate in that bot lane be Lucian, Caitlyn, Varus, all of them very lane dominant champions, and then you get the outlying Zeri as that scaling option. It is a bit surprising that Army West Point have given up that Varus when it is actually Jeju's most played this season thus far. So they've obviously practiced it a lot. And Orbital, this is where we start diverging from normal picks here. Zillion being hovered already by Footy for Pikey here. Despite the name Pikey, he doesn't actually play Pike very much. His most played is Zillion by a long shot. They faked us out. It's not going to be Zillion. Morgana coming in here, not a champion who I've seen on Pikey's sort of recently played champions list, but one that would work well with Varus. You've got a lot of poke potential to come through. Of course, the catch being you've got to land the Dark Binding. And against a mobile AD carry like Zeri here, that can be a little bit tough. We've not seen the support come through for Army West Point just yet, but if you pick, something tanky, you can just kind of shrug off those bindings here if you want.
Well, with that pickup of the bot lane, you know what that leaves open? It's another high standard meta pick. Army West Point going for that Wukong. We've seen it in the LCK. Literally anywhere you go, it's Wukong. Now, the coverage of the Vel'Koz, this one is going to be interesting. A blind pick Vel'Koz, unless it's going in the support role.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that the support, Miss Piggy's Revenge, plays a lot of Vel'Koz. So I actually don't think this is the blind Vel'Koz here, or if it is, it's a swappable pickup here. I like seeing that sort of option to trade it over. Kodiak's on the other side, though, with the hover of the Nocturne here. That would be, to me, a bit of an interesting one. Yeah, I think the Vi is a much safer pick, especially when you're playing into a Wukong here. It's actually very difficult for Nocturne to successfully access that back line. Vi, much more reliable. She's unstoppable when she uses that cease and desist here. And now both of these teams are potentially looking for their solo lanes in the second round of picks and bans.
And taking a look at their compositions right now, we are seeing a kind of, I want to say a little bit of a gap. We're seeing Lethbridge College. It's very much, targeted. We are going to go in. We have these wombo combo ultimate combinations. Because of that, we do want to take away some of those scatters, right? The Rise being taken away. It's a very powerful pick that's also seeing a lot of play. And the hover of that Kled, which again would complement this composition. Taking a look at Lethbridge, what would you like to see come out from them in their solo lanes if they get their optimal picks?
Well, I mean, they're still looking to potentially, if they're looking to continue all-inning here with this sort of big wombo combo, in the top lane, maybe something like the likes of a Scion, if you're looking for Initiate to follow up with that Vi, or Gangplank potentially here. Now, the top laner for tonight, Enriston, my goodness, Enristonla, pardon me if I'm probably absolutely butchering that name here, is subbing into that top row. So I'm not quite sure what their champion pool looks like here in terms of, team fight champions, especially top lane, not known for it. Zac is still potentially on the table. I don't know if they actually play it, but Zac right now has some of the highest win rates across almost every single role. The Echo is something that Erstonla does play a lot of, though I would expect that to be more of a mid pick than a top lane pick.
And the fact that they banned out that mid lane does make sense, right? Lethbridge focusing on that mid lane, saying, okay, we just want to take out these two counters. Let's go ahead, blind pick it, give that top lane the counter. So Army West Point now have to decide where they want to go. They banned away that Kled, which is a great ban of a Bruiser that's been very annoying, and then the Vex as well. And that means you are now free to look at that set, which again, helps against that engage,
Okay.
right? Gonna deal with that Vi Echo combination. And then, of course, if you do lock in this Akali, it is another great pickup, a great duelist that has seen a lot of play recently as well.
I was actually expecting the Cassante to come in here. I mean, we're talking about the fact that Lucian, Nami, Cassante, these guys feel a little bit overtuned for the most part here. Instead, the set as an answer to the engage coming through from the Kodiaks. Army West Point with the Zeri, with the Akali here, they have a lot of initiative on their side here, agency. They don't have to play together as a team. It's testing sort of the individual mechanics of their players. Kodiaks on this side, the Echo has good AoE, can pull up with the whole wombo combo theme that they've been building up. The Pantheon, though, that's a little bit different. Yes, the man drop is an area of effect spell here, but other than that, Pantheon doesn't really fit the rest of this composition. It feels like you're really picking this to specifically counter that mobility of that Akali, you know, when she's diving your backline, when she's going in, point and click, stun her and try and burst her down before she can throw down that Shroud.
And Pantheon is also one that I think has slipped under the radar a little bit, right? It is a champion that is well known as being annoying. It's the harass champion. If anyone plays top lane, we know what Pantheon can do. What this does do, though, is it's focused on, hey, like you said, cover that Akali, but at the same time, follow up on a little bit of the killing potential that you have with that Vi, with the Echo. You can still follow up with the Pantheon. What this worries me is, again, depending on how the scaling works out, it might not match Army West Point through the mid to late game here.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that that Pantheon is going to be in the top lane, because I feel like trying to play the Pantheon into set can be kind of rough. A lot of it is about spacing and trying kind of controlling that space there. You do outrange him with that spear poke, but if you end up going all in against the set there, he generally wins out those extended trades, and he's got better regeneration. So it's a little bit risky for that Pantheon in that 1v1 situation here. I almost prefer the matchup into Akali, like we mentioned, that point and click stun to come through. But that does mean that whoever's matching up the set is going to have a bit of a tough time. Echo as well isn't really going to enjoy it, right? Like, yeah, again, you can kind of try and out-trade with your Q with range, but if you ever mess up, you know, it's kind of hard into set, and set's not really burstable. Echo, kind of an assassin, wants to get killed. So I feel like Kodiak, their solo lanes, whoever goes in that top lane is playing this game on hard mode.
Playing this game on hard mode and on permanent assist mode, right? That Vi is going to have a lot of work that needs to be dealt out here, because you look down the line here, we know the Varus Morgana is going to be a very powerful lane. If it gets rolling, the CC is going to be ridiculous, and depending on what Varus wants to do, whether go attack speed, which we have seen, of course, as well as the AP builds, which is very popular against some of these more health advantage damage dealers. Depending on what the Varus wants to do, that Vi is going to have either forced options in that top lane, you know, try and keep that Pantheon down, or, hey, win that bot lane, try and get the snowball rolling even further. If you are within the Lethbridge College kind of back room, what area are you saying the Vi should go? Because it feels like, again, this early game has got to be won for them.
Yeah, and I think for Kodiaks here, it does feel very much an early game composition. I think they kind of made that decision the moment that Zeri got picked up, right? They were saying that, hey, we're going to win early or we're not going to win at all. So if you're the Vi, you go any lane here. All your lanes were picked to have potential advantages to come through. The Echo lane, regardless of whether it runs into Akali or Set, maybe not quite as strong in the early game, depending on how that matchup goes. In fact, usually you kind of want to get that one item spike first, get your out unlocked. But even then, if you can get the Echo ahead, especially if it is in that mid lane up against the Akali, it's a very volatile lane. So a lot of pressure here onto Footy in the jungle to figure out where he wants to go, which lanes he wants to get ahead here. And I think most importantly for Kodiaks is, if a lane loses out, they need to abandon it. Do not throw bad resources into stabilizing a lane. Throw it into winning the other lanes. For Army West Point, with that Zeri here, with the Vel'Koz, and even with the Akali, who scales incredibly well into games, they're not in a rush. They can afford to take things slow. And when we look at sort of the ranks across the board here, Army West Point, they have a bit of a rank disparity. We mentioned that their mid and their support, Big Wheel and Miss Piggy's Revenge, they're coming in from the main team. These guys are Masters players last season. So you can tell that Army West Point have said, okay, we think we're the better players here, and so we're going to take this slow. We're going to play this with scaling on our side. And if we can smash early, great. If not, we've got late game insurance. So a lot of pressure onto the Kodiaks here to be the proactive ones in this game.
Gotta snap a couple quick pictures very, very quickly of that early game, because I mean, that's the only ones that you're going to have possibly those good moments. If it gets past about that 20 to 25 minute mark, it's going to be drastically harder. So very, very excited to see what this game number 1 decides to spin out for us, whether that be as well. Army West Point going, we are going to march our way even faster because, as you said, they can take it slow. They know they have that mid to late game kind of powerhouse in the back pocket. That does not mean they want to take it slow. We've seen Akali's be absolutely dirty at level 4 and 5 if given the opportunity. We've seen what Vel'Koz can do with the poke. We know what Zeri's can pop off with. And then there's a reason Wukongs are so highly praised right now. Depending on where it goes, it is such a ridiculous pick. And I mean, I want to sit on that because Wukong kind of came out of nowhere. It felt like out of all the changes that came through with some of these patches with the new season, it felt like Wukong was just like, hey, I want to be up there now. Let's go ahead and have some fun. What is going on with this, and what brings so much power to this Wukong pick? Break it down, because I feel like that's what we're also going to be seeing here.
I mean, Wukong has always been around. He's been in meta for quite a while here. Even at Worlds, he was one of the premier junglers, has been for over a year here. And it's just the ease of access, right? He's got the ability to dash over walls, to go invisible, easy engages into the backline, Cyclone, 2 knockups here, AoE knockups, absolutely massive for team fights. And so it's no surprise that pros or, organized teams, competitive teams would want to pick him to really set up easy engages, especially if you're looking for wombo combo style compositions. The interesting thing about Wukong, though, Orbital, is that at the pro level, across all major leagues, he's only got about 42% win rate. So, a lot of advantages. But if you know how to play around him, there are definitely ways to do so. Unfortunately, I don't think the Kodiaks have drafted to deal with the Wukong. They are all in right now, right? We mentioned the Vi going in, the Pantheon going in. They've got wombo combos here. Their idea is we're going to burst people down as fast as we can. Forget the Wukong. Like, if he tries to stop us, he gets hit by the burst too. That's sort of the game plan and how we're going to go. Now, another thing to note, Orbital, is at the bottom, those the champions are lined up in their lane order. So it is going to be Echo into the top lane against Set here. That matchup's a little bit tough. Echo has to watch his mana. That's the main resource he's watching for. Mid lane, though, I do like this. And I think you asked me where Footy should go. If you've got a Pantheon in the mid lane, I want to see gank in the mid lane. Get Pantheon ahead. He can gank your other lanes for you at level 6.
I mean, that's the whole reason that you also pick it, right? Just that early game, the annoyance of, hey, Pantheon's missing, better ping away. It's surprising to say that Pantheon is in the same level as the Katarina. If Katarina's missing, you better start pinging MIA all the time. Maybe this Shaco for any of those troll players in the mid lane. God, I hate Shaco so much. Kassadin's, Kassadin is... That is the only thing that I dislike about mid lane right now. Kassadin has been my nemesis from day number 1, and
Hold up. You just said Shaco in the mid lane?
Listen, my solo queue has not been going well. You leave me alone.
Okay, I mean, if you've got a Shaco in the mid lane, I'm leaving that mid lane alone. I'm touching down the 10th pull here. Yeah, but Pantheon, like you said, heavy roam champion. It's even worse, actually, than the likes of a Kassadin or Katarina. Because you see those guys missing, you ping, hey, my lane's missing. Pantheon, he just leaves your lane and just ganks bot lane. You see it coming. There's nothing you can do. Think TF, think Galio, think longer range Rise potentially here. And Akali has no hard CC. She can't stop the man drop. What she can do is follow the man drop. If you tag them with the shuriken, you can follow that down. I've seen that more times than I can. I've seen that enough times that it's not even that surprising to me anymore. And I've seen it happen in weird situations where they've gone into fountains because they tried to follow up. But that is one way that Akali can try and follow them down to that bot lane, influence that fight, or top lane if that's where the man drop goes to.
Oh my gosh, those days, the compilations of watching Akali's back when the first rework came through, it's just watching Akali's follow across the map and then furiously trying to get out of it. If you've ever seen an Akali hard press every single button in the game and just watching them roll their face across their keyboard, it was slightly cathartic back then, but it was like random flash in the middle of the run, right? There were some really mad mechanical issues with the first iteration of that combination.
Yeah, so you can cancel it by using spells. So I've seen it cancel it by using the ultimate to dash out of it. I'm trying to remember. I've seen it cancel it using teleport before. I don't know if that is still a thing. That was a long time ago, more than a year ago, when I saw somebody actually cancel that with a teleport. You can also cancel it with a flash. It's not the best.
They've allowed it now to happen, by the way. It used to not be able to. It was like Vi cease and desist.
Yeah, no. Now it's interruptible when you use that shuriken flip. If you're going the wrong way, there are ways to stop it. That's it. I don't think we're going to see that this game. I'd be very surprised if we did. I would love to see it. It'd be hilarious. We would laugh when we see it, but it's a very specific set of circumstances. That is not a challenge, Big Wheel. That is not saying that you should try and do it.
100%. Lay it down. Do it. Oh, no. It's also the fact that Vi can do it. What is it? Like, you just watch a cease and desist go flying across the table. Oh my gosh, what's the interaction? You see a Vi cease and desist and Akali. The Akali follows up on the Shuriken, and you just get a train rolling down the rift, right? Oh my gosh, that would be so great to watch. If that interaction happens, I'll be so happy. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, we're just trying to see like how many people we can drag along one teleport or one ultimate there. We joke about party in the bot lane, but it would really be a party at that point.
Yeah, well, Miss Piggy might be getting us a little bit of a party in the bot lane their own. Look at that, so many people in the bot side. 4, and getting a little bit of a bump, and a Knight. So laying it down thick and heavy there, but able to get away, so only losing the flash. Ignite on Pyke's side. So you know what, it's a trade of some very important summoners, but you do get to keep your life.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, you know, with the Vel'Koz, you're not very mobile. You don't really have escape spells. So if you're going to kind of pop your head in like that, drop the ward, you need to do it quick and back away, or have your buddies back you up. Now, I do want to laud Miss Piggy for the way he played that. He held the flash as long as he could there. If you flash immediately, you'd have survived, but you wouldn't have baited out the ignite there. And there was actually a small chance that maybe Miss Piggy could have been able to get away. It's just that the Kodiaks played that really, really well and made sure that you had to burn something at the end of it.
Of course. It's the thought of, you know what, I maybe could have baited out another flash and all, but do I really want to run the chance of dropping 400 gold to the enemy team, who specifically is wanting to win the early game as well, right? This is a team that we said needs that early game advantage, needs every advantage, really, to start steamrolling. And the only real scaling that they have, again, is that bot lane. That Varus can get out of control, that Morgana can start hitting like a truck somewhat, but that's the one lane that you're just like, I don't really want to give more gold over to. So very smart to get away. Nice to hang on to. The problem might be that level 2. In the top side, though, you were talking about this, right? The set being an absolute annoyance and already getting a very distinct health advantage.
Yeah, and you can tell that Nico, knows how to play this lane. They're sacrificing CS, but Set is a much better low econ laner than an Echo is, and he'll happily trade with you all day long if it means that you're going to miss CS as well. Not to mention, Enriston... Oh my god, I'm going to trip over that name. Enristonla in the top side took so much damage on those trades. You can't afford to do that. We're touching on the fact that, hey, Echo, it's about that mana in these trades, but it's also about the HP. You're not expecting to be taking so much HP damage on these trades. You're expecting to throw out the Q, walk away here, and not really engage with that set.
We're taking a look here. Footy returning to the spot side, but guess who's here? Chaotic wants to make it chaotic, and a flash into the knockup means it's first blood. A perfect counter gank. These Army West Point very happy. You lose your support, but you got first blood anyway. And now Food Battle has to battle their way right out. Last little tag from the red buff means Chaotic War brings it on home. 3 for 1 in the bot lane.
That's when you get the worth in all chat there coming through from your support. And that was actually planned. It's not like Miss Piggy decided like, hey, I'm going to overextend for this. No, they were hard committing. And if the Kodiaks wanted that Vel'Koz, they had to commit multiple members. A 3 for 1 massive win for Army West Point. You were touching on the fact that, hey, you don't want to feed the Kodiaks bot lane. That's their one scaling lane. You just fed a Zeri, who is one of the hardest scaling champions in this game.
Welcome to Doom City. This is going to be a bit of a rough time here. And with no summoners as well, this is perfect for Jeju to come out and just say, yeah, give me a single moment to show off. And the fact is not just that bot lane, but that now means the Pantheon has one less accessible area to gank. The Pantheon, again, we stated over and over again, we kind of harped on, the fun things that can happen. But again, the stability that it brings, the gank potential that it can bring once you hit level 6, that bot lane is now no longer an option. Unless you're trying to play from behind. Topside, though, Chaotic War able to track that jungle difference. But Nico is going to get tagged up here, able to get away from that stun. Chaotic War jumps in, gets some good damage, and her Stonla saying, I can't fight this any longer. So Footy tried to get a gank off, has always tried to be the initiator, but so far the reactions from Army West Point have been on point.
Yeah, and because of this as well, it does mean that Chaotic War gets full control over this top side. I was wondering if they were going to go for the dive there. Nico was positioned very aggressively, but Chaotic War actually not going to go in there and explore the enemy jungle. Just assume that Footy had full cleared already. Sadly, that wasn't the case.
Not going to be the full clear, but at this point, Chaotic War is just happy kind of matching Footy, because that's now twice that you denied ganks out. And at this point, you don't have to overextend. As we said, you don't have to make those proactive moves all the time for Army West Point. You're very happy just denying that opportunity from Footy. So as right now, yes, Army West Point could make that play, could steal away a couple of camps, could be that amazing aggressor. Doesn't have to be, so taking the safer route.
Yeah, no, look at their lanes here, Orbital. There's a CS differential in every single lane. Nico, 8 CS is the smallest one. Bot side, not only do they have that CS lead here, we're seeing the shove come through as well. And Food Battle, Pikey here, they're being shoved in. That's not what you want to see when you've got a Varus Morgana on your side. That is a heavy pushing lane, and you're losing all control on this bot side. The Herald is being, or not Herald, pardon me, the Scuttle is being taken away by the bot lane.
This is going to be that one big chance, though. As we were saying in the bot side, there were some interesting moments, but Big Wheel, no flash expended, no summoners expended, and you get out of the gank for free.
Yeah, that's flash, ignite blown from Zedpies there, and Big Wheel has TP, right? He can just TP right back to the lane, full health here, and potentially have kill threat onto Zedpies. Zedpies blew all his mana here as well. Is level 6 though, so there is the sort of pseudo TP where you can just kind of base and then use your ultimate to get back into lane, but it just takes so much map pressure away from this Kodiak team, who needs to find some sort of pressure somewhere in the map.
At this point, it's not even that easy, right? You're almost waiting for Army West Point to give you that opportunity, as they are now storming forward. Without vision, there is no fear. They drop some wards on the bot side. They have full control, and they're going to take this dragon. They're going to now start stacking those global objectives, because they do have that opportunity. I really like what they're doing here, saying, okay, we stopped that gank in the mid lane. We're not even worried. And now on the top side, we see another win. Nico's going for that all under the tower, but went a little bit too hard. And because of that, this should be Footy picking up a bit of another advantage. Flash is up, slow is down, but Jeju gets a kill on the bot lane, and guess who else is here? The body block comes in. Big Wheel saying, hey, the main squad's gonna show you what we got. Go ahead and let this beat drop here. Zedpies trying to do some work here, but no one to follow up. Does get the final Q, and again, that empowered strike brings so much, but the follow-up is gonna be their doom. Big Wheel chases forward. One more 5-point means it's a kill, and you know what? We aren't even gonna look at the bot lane, because that bot lane is all Jeju and Miss Piggy.
Yeah, bot side they're just pushing away here, but overall I'm talking about that top side, because that was a good call from Kodiaks. Enris Sonla played that really, really well to bait everything out of Nico and survived there. And that was their opportunity. That was the play that we're looking for, but they couldn't make it work. And that is the big problem for Kodiaks. Look at their gold lead as well. 3,500 gold down at this point. And all of that from attempts which did not succeed from Kodiak. You were saying they're going to have to wait for Army West Point. Well, I don't think Army West Point is going to give them anything. And at this point here, I don't think Kodiaks can take anything of their own volition.
Their attempt is going to be, please, can I have some more gruel? Just begging for scraps here. And if given the scraps, they have an opportunity to try and garner some early game once again. But again, as you said, that 3K is going to be such a big problem. Right now, the wave state's not even in their favorite top side. Aristanla getting cut away from that wave. And considering how far Nico has pushed into the tower, the fact that the CS differential on that top side is that massive hurts this Echo. We said it was going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be so, and because of that, you're not going to roam out with this pickup on this Herald. Army West Point might be allowing themselves an opportunity. Yeah, they have no idea. A little bit of a sweep by Footy to ensure that no one knows. This could be a steal. Can Footy get the steal? It's minded away.
It's too late.
No flash. No flash whatsoever. Wukong goes into the cyclone. Piggy's here for even more revenge. You get the knock up and follow through. And that is just decimation. A little bit late on that jump over. And now the top side, Nico gets the haymaker. Just like that, the top side of this Lethbridge College is going to fall as well. Shield goes the opposite way. Zedpies about to be made into a pie if Big Wheel decided.
Well, they're lucky Miss Piggy is not 6 yet. Just tick 6 off that minion wave. I think I look for that. I think it's too late for them. But if Belcause was 6, I think they go for that dive here. Akali ultimate. The perfect execution is up and ready to go here. Now, Army West Point, they're starting to make proactive moves here. That play on Herald, proactive. Now, they didn't quite catch the vision of the ward But Footy also didn't have vision of that Herald there. So it kind of went both ways. And I am scared for Kodiaks here. We've been harping a lot on Kodiaks being proactive, that they needed to do so. What happens now that the shoe is on the other foot? What happens when Army West Point is the one to start making moves?
I feel we're going to see some Army West Point tactics here. Is what we're going to start seeing. And oh, the long range damage. Disintegration Ray takes out Pikey. Oh, the pain. It was the last tag as well. Miss Piggy popping off on this Pocket Velcons.
You know, Orbitals, as casters, sometimes we say that, oh, you know, they're so low on health that if you looked at them funny, they drop dead. Pikey was full health when Miss Piggy looked at them funny, and they dropped dead. This bot lane is nigh unplayable at this point. The Kodiaks kind of have to just surrender it at this point here. Either surrender it, or you got to call Footy, and Zedpie's down here. And even if you call them down, I don't know that you win that trade. I really don't.
We said that at the beginning, I think, right? After that 3-1, it's that question mark of you really did lose a lane that you want to go for. Pikey now gonna try and get a binding off on Chaotic, who is able to be slowed here. Now Footy goes in as well. I'm not sure if that's the action that you do want to take. As in
the party
comes Zedpie. Zedpie's, I'm not sure if that's the area that you want to go. The shield is up, Age is good. But Chaotic Warriors takes out the Morgana, and they are going for the all-in because they have to. Zedpie's gets away with a scant bit of health, but a final Q might land. No big wheel misses on that. The zap comes out from Jeju. It's not going to land, but my gosh, did Zedpie just bait his support in jungle?
I didn't even see Pikey die. I was so confused. Like, as a Morgana, words are failing me right now, Orbital, and the kills are failing Kodiak right now. There's nothing they can do. You saw that play again. They're the ones pulling the trigger, and it's costing them, unfortunately, everything here. In a way, I'm actually happy they didn't call the TP from Enristonla from that top side. I think if they called the Echo as well, like, there's just nothing to be had. This bot side of the map is so lost for Kodiaks here. And for West Point, for Army West Point, they can just keep walking in like this over and over and over again. Kodiaks, that's not your jungle. You can't even walk in there.
The fact that Army West Point are allowed to do that with an ADC and support who have no mana and not feel threatened, that's even crazier to me. If you see an opponent with no mana and they can only spell reroll once, you're like, okay, we can go for that. They can't even do that. Right now, Lethbridge College have been completely suffocated in all of their advances. The dragon is up. The dragon is up, and they don't feel confident enough to take it. That's how this is going. So I have to give huge props to Army West Point, right? This is controlled. This is surgical. This is a team, a group that has been fine-tuned. You can really see that experience coming through from Big Wheel and Miss Piggy, right? Their calls, their understanding of, you know, what can we go for and when is the accurate time, because as soon as they got those early game kills, they have said we can now turn on those afterburners. So I really, really like this. Now taking a look, another dragon getting ready to be taken. The Hex deck here is going to be very annoying, but Miss Piggy said, hey, I found a very annoying jungler. Let's go ahead and just sweep that under the rug. Pikey, you're next. Couple more auto attack from Jeju, who flashes in and said, just give me that kill. And oh no, Zedpie's, I don't think you're going to like this. And Ristonla is here to try and help out, but only saves Zedpie's. So a quick 2 kills leads to Army West Point getting their second drink.
Yeah, again, I'm liking the engage from Footy. If you weren't so far behind, that should have been an easy pick onto the Velcons. But it goes to show how far behind you are, that you can't even burst down that support. And Orbital, you're talking about the discipline, you know, that Army West Point have with knowing their power spikes and really playing to it here. And I fully agree. We have to keep in mind that both these teams are running with substitutes right now, but Army West Point substitutes feel like they're the shot callers almost right now.
And what that spells for the rest of the matches we now see, Nico might have been in a rough spot, still has flash, so easily gets away. Yeah, the haymaker there even, not really a problem here. The only thing that I will worry about is if Big Wheel and Miss Piggy are actually the shot callers here. I do have a small inkling in the back because, again, this is week number 1 of the season. This is, you know, the start of the season. This is where teams start to get a little fresh. I would like to know, though, if Army West Point are making calls from, say, the jungle, maybe the top laner as well. Because if these two players are not going to be there for the rest of the season, it might not be good to have them shot calling the whole game, right? It's good to learn from that, but to not have their entire shot calling come from the substitutes who may or may not be there week 2.
Fair enough. And we're not saying they are the shot callers. We unfortunately don't have that information just yet here. Perhaps if they win this series, you know, we have a post-game interview, we can ask them then. It just feels like it right now when Miss Piggy has taken over this bot lane and allowed Jeju to scale up basically for free. And we're seeing Big Wheel's roams be really on point, communicating really well with Chaotic Wars here. And for the Kodiaks, I want to say that it's not like they don't have coordination either. I think they're playing quite coordinated as well. We've seen the ganks from Footy look good when they try and pull it off. Zpies has been roaming well with Footy. The problem, I think, just comes from the fact that they're getting outlaned a little bit in this game one. They picked an early game composition, and it backfired a little bit, right? That bot side play, the moment it happened, Kodiak's game was 2-3 times harder than it otherwise would have been. So, this game looks pretty doomed. However, it's a best of 3. Kodiak still have other games to come back in, and I think changing up draft will and give them other options.
Well, yes, hopefully more than that one. That was a 2v4, by the way. Now a 3v1 into another 3v1. This is Army West Point just doing the duty list, right? That is almost a full ace. Yeah, the minions will help him out. That is an ace in a 3v5, if you will, at 16 minutes. Army West Point just do not care.
Yeah, this is not fair. This is like a you know, first world nations army versus like a third world, like a barbarian horde somewhere. That's what it's looking at right now. You know, Army West Point, they brought nukes to a knife fight. It's just not balanced whatsoever. And again, like I said, for Kodiaks, you know, that's fine. Game 1, literally the first game of the season, you can move on from this, right? A lot of it will go into Game 2, into draft as well. I'm curious to see actually if they double down on this early game style of composition or whether they actually pick some scaling options for themselves here a little bit as safety, as backup. Because I think the Varus is perfectly fine here. You had the option of going either lethality or on hit, and they went on hit for a bit more scaling options here. They're just really far behind, unfortunately, so it feels particularly bad. He also rushed a shield bow, which is it's a defensive option. It shows the situation of the game. I'm looking more at their solo lanes, right? Like the Echo, you knew what you were running into. You saw that set, and you picked that Echo to play into it. Didn't work out. Pantheon, again, very, very early game. Miss Piggy,
Miss Piggy does not care whatsoever. When the support is allowed to do that, it feels kind of bad. But to piggyback off of what you were saying, no pun intended, the composition is strong. I actually really do like the all-in when you follow through on that compositional style. When you're saying, hey, I do want to follow through with this kind of all-in, with this we are going to press R and send it forward. I do like it. I like the concept that they built up. But as you said, the execution was a little bit rough. So we'll see if they do, again, go for the all-in. I would like to see him, though, as you said, play around that Varus. Maybe with the jungle help, though, Footy has shown that, hey, the ganks do work. I know the Vi is strong right now, but maybe even something a bit tankier, right? A little bit more sustained, because the gank path was good. It's just you didn't survive long enough to pull it off. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But Army West Point, right now, taking some leads here, saying, okay, we're going to slow push up in the mid lane. 4 in mid with a solo on the side. Big Wheel with the teleport. Same with Nico. So honestly, they do a 1-3-1, a 1-4, a 5-0 if they so decide. And it looks like they are going to do a 5-0 straight up that mid lane. Said Pie's saying, I'm not sure if I can hold off against this.
Footy?
Oh. So Footy's having some fun here. Footy's having some fun, letting Miss Piggy gather up another kill, another stack in the Medjais, right? Saw the Medjais, was like, I'm going to gift him a kill. You know, I felt bad for taking a kill early on that one.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think when a team is losing and the game, like, they know they're probably not going to be able to win this. They've got a comp that doesn't scale. You know, as the game goes on, it's going to get worse with them. I do appreciate when teams play very aggressively and they, you know, why not, right? If we're going to lose, let's go out in a blaze of glory. However, you need to go together as a team there. And I think that's been the least coordinated play we've seen out of Kodiak so far in this game. Usually, Footy has a dive buddy to go in with him. Zpie's not quite on the same page this time. And you know what? They still have a chance because Army West Point, they're playing this slow. By the books here. They take another dragon. It's Cloud. It won't help them close out the game that much faster. But you know, it's time for Kodiaks to, you know, farm up a little bit. And Nick Siege here. I want to see the Kodiaks just hard commit to that next fight. Heck, maybe even not a Siege, because Army West Point could just go for Baron. It's coming up in 30 seconds here. If it's going for Baron, Kodiaks kind of have to contest it. You lose Baron, you lose game. So you might as well go for that 5v5, throw that Hail Mary, maybe you find Big Wheel, maybe you find Jeju. Early enough in the fight, try and win that 5v4.
Emphasis on the maybe. Just pointing that one out. Emphasis on the maybe, because I don't think if they catch anyone, it's going to work. It's just Army West Point looks so clean right now, and I really, really do appreciate it. Because, again, in week number 1, I'm always curious, right? One of the big things that I always like to talk about in the season long is how far can you improve and how much more can you improve? Right now, though, they might have found Chaotic Hordes. No, they didn't. It was a bait. It was all a trap. Do not listen to me. I do not know what I'm talking about. That is such a quick wipe of 4 with a triple kill from Miss Piggy. Big Wheel going, yeah, you're the carry. Don't worry. I know I'm the sub. I won't take it all.
Hey, man, when your support has more kills than just you and is building Medjai's, yeah, you give that to your support there. I mean, fully stacked from Miss Piggy's revenge here.
Ridiculous off of that one. And now Zedpai's, the lone defender, is going to try and hop in. Great go, and then there, almost got the kill, almost got the trade, but Big Wheel, again, level 14, enough HP to sustain through. And then, of course, the Baron came through, and now we are seeing a 19k lead from AWPE. This is a massive undertaking. If they do not end off of this next couple pushes, I don't see what's going on here. At that point, they're just playing around.
As you say, that AWP actually going to reset on this here, Orbital. They want to make sure they spend that 19k gold lead, almost 20,000 gold lead here. They want to get ready for that final push. You know what I'd like to see?
What?
Stopwatch for Miss Piggy here. You got to protect that KDN. Got to protect that.
No. You can't call for that defensive item. Get out of here. As an AP burst mage, you do not back out in that way. If you are already carrying, this is for anyone out there playing this type of champion. You do not back away from the damage. You do not go Zanyas if you are this far ahead. What are you suggesting, RMC?
I'm suggesting play by the numbers. Miss Piggy, though, he's following your playbook here. When Hextech Alternator, more damage. You already have the Night Harvester there, and you're just piling on more damage here. They still have to do one final push here, bro, and it's got to be into turrets as well. So the game's not quite over yet. It might be on this fight.
Well, they might have done so, as Nico has been the unfortunate recipient of the ultis and brings it right back. Just like that, the bot lane continues to rampage, and now it's Zap takes the kill. It is rare that you actually see a Zap do that much damage, but Jeju says, yeah, just give me a moment. Hold this drink. This is Jeju and Miss Piggy's game to carry. And with 3 on the map, 4 now with Big Wheel, it is all Army West Point Esports. Another powerful blow means Nico is going to fall. Chaotic Hordes into the backline, gets exhausted. It does not matter. Zedpai's is going to be turned into a pie, and that is the ace. The third ace, second ace, I'm so sorry, I can count, don't worry, is going to be up. They're going to take the Nexus Towers, and they do not care. Or do they? Or do they not? Absolutely, they do not. Tower goes down, another couple kills. Pikey goes into that Zanya's that thankfully Miss Piggy did not buy, and it will be game 30-3, 31-3. You're making me look bad here, Army West Point. They will take game number 1 over Lethbridge College.
Well, Orbital, you got your third ace there at the very end. You know, Army West Point, they held long enough to make sure that you were making mistakes there. So well played. But yeah, after a game like that, Orbital, it's really tough for the losing team. And for the Kodiaks here, the first thing they need to deal with is to fix their mentals. It's not easy losing a game like that. It was a smash, but it wasn't like a complete just shattering of them, right? Like, Army West Point took their time ending the game, and Kodiaks were stuck there playing that out. And you saw, even at the ends there, signs of life. They didn't just roll over and die. They looked for those fights, those moments of glory that we were asking for. And they came close. There were a couple of times, you know, where if they just had a bit more goal, maybe Zedpai's find the kill. Maybe Footy finds the kill here. So they need to refix mental. They still have potentially another 2 games. If you're Army West Point, after a game like that, I mean, I can't even imagine what their mental state must be like. You know, you got to make sure they don't relax too much. They have a massive itch. And you know what? If they want to relax, you can't blame them. But they still have another game to close this one out. And I'm curious to see if Army West Point keep the same discipline that we saw here in game 1.
My question is, do they get to have the Vel'Koz again? Because that was disgusting. That is my big question there. So we'll see if the Vel'Koz gets through the draft. If not, Miss Piggy, I'm sure we'll bring out something else. I'm also curious to see if the main roster for this squad is able to step up alongside those substitutes and give us another fantastic show. So please do not go anywhere. Esports U will be back in just a bit.
That's right. Translate out of this experience in esports. The only path is not just as a player. I think all of us are representative of jobs in esports, but it mirrors traditional sports in pretty much the same way. You've got, broadcasters, you've got production people, you've got marketing and sales, and now NIL and things like that. But really, esports is kind of a great accelerator for a lot of new businesses that are coming up in the metaverse and Web3, and there's a lot of new technology that is going to be needed. And so these STEM students that are also esports athletes are really the future workforce and leaders of tomorrow. And us, as well as all of our brand partners that we work with, really recognize this. And I think that's really, a key driver of why brands are in this space. They want to be part of building that future workforce and leadership and shaping it and supporting it. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting space to watch.
And we offer such a big, we offer such a big counterpart to traditional sports also, because it's a counterpart, but it's also the same, is what I'm trying to say. Because when you're traditional sports and they're done after their 2-a-day workout and they're done after their practice scrim, they're coming home to play Call of Duty and relax and put their feet up and get a drink and play video games. It grows their brain, problem-solving skills, and their hand-eye coordination while they're home. Hand-eye coordination, if you're a football player, massive skill. So it helps build those things while they're off the field. And then for us, vice versa, if you're an esports athlete, one of the errors I had growing up when I was competing in esports is that I was not active enough. I played sports, I competed a little bit, but I wasn't active enough truly when I look at it. So that's one area that esports players can learn from in terms of activity and physical and the marrying of both. People say, oh, sports and esports, video games. Not really. We're just kind of the tech industry's competitive form of competition, as to where traditional sports are more physical, hands-on. So I believe in the marrying of these two sectors and that they actually live together while also being counterparts.
Well, I think then to speak to something about marrying, right, from traditional to esports, that to me speaks to this whole new thing, at least again from you guys, right? You guys have more traditional sports background, right? Paul, Lee, Mike, and all of that. But I think let's talk NIL then, because I think that's something that I think is really interesting, that at least when I heard about it, right, of what we're trying to do with, esports athletes, schools, programs in general, because it wasn't something you would think normally, right? You could understand, right, football player on the field, star quarterback, it makes sense, right? The guy is somebody that everybody knows on campus, whether you're on the team, off the team, or you're just going to the school, it makes sense. But I think, nowadays it's not as common, or people don't think that they could be somebody that their name is out there, right? Or that they're known, right? As we're growing the space, as we're putting this together, it almost feels really interesting that, your star entry in Valorant, or your star forward on Rocket League, right? Whatever the case might be, now they can have NIL deals. It's a thing out there. And I think, I don't know, maybe Mike, you want to start off? But
I think, thank you for teeing that up. So I was talking for too long. I forgot to bring NIL into the mix. So it's a common occurrence, occupational hazard. So I would say that, so NIL for I'm sure most of you watching understand what it is, but NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. Name, image, and likeness, that term has been utilized to describe the transition of traditional student athletes, NCAA athletes, and their ability to monetize their name, image, and likeness. It went live July 1st, 2021, and it has continued over the course of the last nearly 14 months now. It's an interesting term because it's been co-opted to describe the NCAA's approach to student athletes being able to make endorsement money or be able to monetize any part of their name, image, and likeness. But it's been around forever, right? We've had athletes endorsing brands for over 100 years. Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees was endorsing brands 100 years ago, and it has continued onward from baseball cards all the way through now, where we have lots of different integrations of how influencers can monetize their followings. So what I would say on the traditional side is it's still a very young space. There are a lot of stories out there regarding NIL that tend to focus on the negative or how out of control, I put in air quotes, it has gotten. But there is still a burgeoning marketplace for many more student athletes that are involved. About 17% of NCAA athletes are currently involved in NIL, but 65% more than that want to get involved and are curious how to get started. On the flip side, brands are challenged with a few different things in the space. There are 10,000 professional athletes in the United States. Once July 1st, 2021 hit, and you dump every NCAA athlete into that space, that's another 500,000. So brands that maybe didn't have a dedicated athlete strategy when there were 10,000 now have 500,000 plus that 10,000 to figure out how to activate who they are. That's a lot. I understand brands' hesitancy in some instances, but I can tell you that companies like us are on a daily basis educating brands and student athletes as to the software you can use, the types of activations you can get involved in, and how to utilize your followings, or if you don't have to or want to be a social media star, other ways in which you can monetize it. Now, I know I described that under the umbrella of the NCAA, but I see it as being no different in esports. I think there are massive opportunities for people with followings to be able to use that and connect with brands. I think a company like us can help you to do that. And then beyond that, we can make sure that those transactions are safe for you. I think there are opportunities, not just at the individual competitor level, but at the program level to have a sponsorship go to that. I'm sure some of you out there listening and watching already have deals like that in place, but I think we can continue to enhance, augment those deals and make them more comprehensive and make them, first of all, I think product deals are perfectly fine, but I think we can get beyond that and grow some of these deals to a greater extent. Paulie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, what you said is right. So I'll put it in for layman's terms here for just the esports players, because I talk to so many of our athletes that compete in our CECC series that are currently still in college. And basically when Mike Blewett says NIL, what he's referring to is just very simple. If a brand or any sort of anyone wants to use your school's name or your brand or anything with you, there is a deal for you that can be put in place, whether it's product deal, whether it's a paid endorsement. You can, whether you're a macro influencer or whether you're a micro influencer, you can be paid for your services. So most of the people, when I talk to them, most of the, I won't say people, college athletes, they are, intimidated by the word. They don't really know what it means. They've never done anything with it before. And that's what it means. Any single time a brand or anyone at all wants to use your name or do a deal with you or do some sort of activation with you or your school, that's basically what the layman's terms, the NIL meaning comes from. And it's evolving in this space. There are so many brands that want to associate with micro and macro influencers and just get people involved with their products or their services. So all of you, collegiate athletes out there that are competing in esports, not only are we trying to broker those deals, but also keep your eyes, ears open, and don't be shy or scared to take these deals, because that's what I've heard the most, is that most of the time they're just scared to take them. They don't know what they are. They don't know if they're locking themselves into some agreement or terms.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here ready to go for game number 2, and my gosh, did Army West Point come out with some absolutely stellar play. This is a team that looked like they've been through boot camp at least 3 times, and now they're doing it a 4th time just for fun. They looked so clean, and off the back of Miss Piggy's Vel'Koz, this is a champion we mentioned at the end of game number 1 should probably be banned. There is some very, very good cases being made right now. But, I mean, what else? What can you give up to ban away the Vel'Koz? Like, quite honestly, what are we looking at?
I mean, I can see 25 good reasons why you should ban that Vel'Koz there at the end, Orbital. Fully stacked mid-jai, ain't nothing to joke about. Didn't even build defensive either, right? Like, I was going for defensive. He just flat out built a Hextech alternator. More damage. It worked. Now, Kodiaks are going to be on blue side here. for game 2. They have opted for that first pick. So it does kind of mean that you can pick something a bit more OP or meta for your first pick, and that gives you an extra ban, potentially. That said, you have to ban the Vel'Koz, I think. And not just the Vel'Koz, I think the Akali's an issue. The Zeri might be pick or ban status this particular game. The scary part, I feel like, for Kodiaks right now is, can you afford to go for late game skilling?
Yeah.
Right? Given that the bot lane we mentioned is dominated by Lucian Nami, Caitlyn, Varus, all these sort of lane dominant champions here, the fact that Army West Point can pull off the Zeri so well is a problem for Kodiaks. Because if you pick it, you got to play against Lucian, Caitlyn, Varus, or you got to ban them all out, which feels like a problem. And hey, maybe you do kind of want to do that, right? Ban the Caitlyn, ban the Lucian, ban the Vel'Koz, pick the Zeri, and pray that you can survive Varus. I mean, they just did it, so...
I mean, they just did it. It's like, you know, hey, Michael Jordan just went for a dunk, you know, that he did it. Why don't we do it? It's like there's some other underlying things, but I do agree. There are I lost it. I don't know why I said that, but there are some things going on there that made it very, very interesting. And I agree. The late game, though, gives them a bit better safety net. That's the only thing I'll say for Lethbridge. The idea that you're not just honed in on this early game, and I think that was one of the reasons for their downfall. We saw Footy going for those ganks over and over again, and quite honestly, had the right idea. That playbook, the textbook was correct. You go ahead, you get a gank on the bot side, you try and make it work. Chaotic Wars just was there at the right time. They knew that was coming. Same with the top side. Very nice read by Chaotic Wars. We see those embers of we know what's going on, and I feel if Footies was not under that pressure, we could have seen something vastly different come out.
Yeah, and it felt like a lot of that game did get decided in that, what was that, level 4 gank in the bot lane, where they gave over 3 kills. The moment that happened, it felt like the game was over because there was no skilling. There was no fallback here for the Kodiak side. So if they draft for skilling, I don't expect to see quite as big a stomp to come through by any means if they do opt for scaling. But like I said, I don't feel like that early game idea is wrong, especially when on paper you're lower ranked. You need to introduce chaos in the game. You win by introducing variability. So early game compositions like what Kodiak drafted wasn't wrong by any means. And I don't want people to think like, oh, they lost in draft. They didn't. It just didn't go to plan. So the question is just how confident are they in that particular playbook? Now, we talked a lot about the subs as well for both these teams. It's worth noting that for the Kodiaks, their primary shot caller and captain, Night Hero, is not playing tonight. And that is a big deal, right? We were touching on Army West Point, felt like they were very on point with their shot calls. It felt like their subs were leading the charge in a lot of these ways. For Kodiaks, I don't know if Footy is usually the one who has to make those calls, or if Zedpie is the one to make those roaming calls here. It felt like they had the right idea. They were on the same page when they pulled the trigger. But it did feel like when it came to overall macro, they were a bit of a step behind. So, going into game 2, we'll have to see if somebody can step up and really fill that role of in-game shot caller and captain here.
Of course, and also being on that blue side opens up a new range of opportunities for them to get the champions that they like. We did talk about the fact that the Lucian was banned away. We understand Lucian is a very powerful champion, but that is one of Food Battle's most played ADCs coming in here. So you know what? If Army West Point do decide for some reason to give the Lucian over, saying, hey, maybe we could take the Nami away and, deny that combination and leave the Lucian, that might be an opportunity to fight back even harder in that bot lane. So there are some changes that can come through here that we could see give the Kodiaks a bit better advantage. Another thing I would like to see on that top side, I want to see something other than Echo. I feel that issue came about, and I don't think we touched on it enough because it was, let's be honest, it was kind of that losing matchup at the start. I want to see a bit more even grounded fight, right? Maybe 2 bruisers going at it. We know there are some champions that just do better into the set. It felt like that was the throwaway lane that Kodiaks had to go for. If we do see something else up there, I mean, I know what I would like. I have a penchant for the Jax now. I like what Jax, the rework, has done. It's a lot of fun. What would you like to see up there? What other champions would you prefer to see other than the Echo?
My problem is that Enris Stonla is not a top laner. So he doesn't have the champ pool to play the top side. True. What I would like to see is a Cassante. I feel like it's such a strong pickup right now. It's not incredibly mechanically intensive. Yeah, you still have to land your Qs, but it's not like a Fiora, for example, here. But I just don't know if it's fair to ask that from a substitute who's filling in that particular role, might not have that champion. So the Echo felt like a bit of a comfort pick to come through. Potentially, you can just go full comfort draft if you want. My bigger problem with the Echo pickup was that was the R4 pickup for Kodiaks. They had Red Side, they had last pick counter pick, and they knew what the Echo had to run into, and they didn't swap it into the mid lane. They didn't pick something that could match the set in the top side. They picked the Pantheon to deal with the Akali. I think that's the bigger issue. So seeing Kodiaks on blue side, yes, you surrender counter pick, but considering how their draft went, I'm okay with that. If anything, I just want to see a cohesive draft. Like maybe just all in for a wombo combo team fight composition to come through. Don't pick that Pantheon. Maybe instead of the Echo, what's better for a team fight? I know Aristotle plays Lissandra, Vigar. Those are potential picks, assuming the Kled gets banned again. Or just pick that Kled early. If that's one of your few top lane picks you have in your pool, go for it.
Might as well.
Right? Comfort trumps sometimes, trying to fit meta or trying to play around things.
Yeah, let's just say I've had my fair share of just pick meta or pick comfort instead of meta. It's helped me climb a little bit. Again, the Shaco mids have been very annoying, let's just say. I don't know where I got...
What happened to you, man?
Listen, I might be an elo hell or something other than that. I have had some rough times there ever since I hit... Okay, this is by far my proudest moment. I hit Plat 4 the fastest I've ever done it, and then immediately afterwards, I've gotten some teammates that I question what the heck just happened, and some opponents that I'm like, they know some dirty tech. Either way, though, we will not be seeing too much crazy tech as we are now into draft once again. The hallway has been run as Lethbridge is now in that driver's seat on the blue side, and they go ahead, let's go ahead and ban away our standard. The Caitlyn, the Akshan once again, the two primaries that they had last time, except I believe the Lucian was on the blue side last time. Kassadin though, Army West Point saying we are not allowing the Rift Walker to Rift Walk his way into the draft.
Yeah, and I like that, coming through from Army West Point here. You're trying to remove those sort of variable points that we were talking about. I think Kassadin is very difficult to deal with. And we saw that Army West Point isn't the fastest team either on the Rift. They were very methodical. It was a stranglehold, which didn't give Kodiaks a chance to get back in. But if you've got something like a Kassadin, which just needs to hit level 16, well, you can't afford to play that slow. Okay, the Wukong ban coming in. They're still allowing the Vel'Koz through here, bro. And to me, that's a huge risk. If you're letting that through, you better have an answer to it, because Army West Point on red side will get counter pick in both phases of picks.
And I will say that bot lane did get rolling because of the Wukong, so their thinking is not wrong. I want to make that clear. There were some identifying factors, and yes, the Vel'Koz got ahead, but let's remember that it was the Wukong early that gave him such a lead. The problem, though, Army West Point said, we're going to ban the same. This was left open. The Maokai, one of the premier pickups in any meta right now, whether you send it to the top lane, the jungle, top lane, okay, I digress, or the support role.
Yeah.
it's a Maokai. Maokai is now in the game.
Yeah. Now, we have to keep in mind that last game, it was Kodiak's Army who banned the Maokai away here. They didn't want to give it over to Army West Point. And considering how Army West Point played, the big deal about Maokai, especially on this particular patch, is his vision control with those saplings to check bushes here. I don't think Army West Point are worried about that whatsoever, so they are more than happy to give that over. What they are not going to give over is that Vel'Koz. They flat out blinded it here. Orbital. Last time it wasn't a blind. They saw the Morgana and said, hey, we can answer it. This time they're saying, you know what, we're confident enough in Miss Piggy's revenge. We'll pair it with the Jhin. This is not a Vel'Koz supporting the Jhin. This is the Jhin looking to support the Vel'Koz.
And that is an immediate lock-in on the other side of a very stun-heavy composition, the Zillion and the Ashe. That one, I mean, I like it, but I also, if you see the blind pick Jhin and Vel'Koz, I also like seeing something like a Nautilus. I'm a penchant for Nautilus. I love the engage on some of these champions. Still, nonetheless, Lethbridge College may not be going for that early game win fight kind of style, but it's a CC lockdown, and I love this immediate change in course of what they want to do. Now, of course, though, on the other side, Army West Point say, hey, we heard RMC earlier. This minion's got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and lock that one in.
That's dirty. Oh, my goodness. So, the Zillion pickup, I wanted to highlight because it's Pikey's most played champion. And you can theoretically dance around the Vel'Koz if you're with the speed up if you're good enough. That doesn't matter the moment that Zac gets locked in here. I don't care that you've got a chrono shift. You can revive somebody. Ashe isn't getting away. Zillion isn't getting away from that Zac either. And you can chrono shift. That Zac's going to be dancing on your grave long after you resurrect there. Yeah, this Zac is incredibly dangerous. And now Lethbridge have a problem here. The Kodiaks need a tank shredder because Zac is going to stack a ton of health. And Ashe, she can go Blade of the Ruined King. But if you go that build, you're not going to win the lane. So, food battle in a bit of a rough spot right now. Somebody on this team needs to carry some of that weight a little bit here. You want food battle to not have to go Blade of the Ruined King in lane here, and that means you need a tank shredder either top or mid.
Get that shredder going somehow, and we are waiting for that last ban from Army West Point. And did they just not ban? This zero is feeling like it's a pretty long zero. This is going into the dot decimals area right now. If that's true, that's kind of crazy. If Army West Point just say, we don't know what we want to ban, we don't care, that'll be impressive. There's a hover of Fiora. Okay, there we go. Now we get locked in. It is a Fiora ban, and I do agree with this one. Army West Point, yes, we don't want to give those bruisers over. That is, again, focusing on Enristan saying, let's keep pinching that substitute. Let's ensure that nothing crazy can happen game 2.
Yeah, I will also say I think the draft has crashed a little bit, so we might start seeing problems with the bans to come through. I'm not sure if the Fiora is finalized here, but if it is, I agree with you, Orbital. You don't want to give over those champions. I feel like, Cassante, Fiora, Jax, like you kind of mentioned, these are some of the strongest champions in the top lane. But what does surprise me is if Nico wants to ban this, because I feel like Nico successfully hands-checked Enristonla last game.
True.
And if you think that your hands are better here, you give over Jax, you give over Fiora. Those are not problem champions for you.
That's also fair, and I mean, Jax is not really, I want to say a hands check champion, right? It's still the same old Jax. You're gonna run at someone, you're gonna knock him on the head, and then you're gonna run away. That's what Jax does. Agreed. The Fiora though is that hands check. You want to drop the vitals, you want to make sure that nothing happens there. I'm interested to see what Nico brings out though. The set again felt like that. It was that blind pick champion. It was, you didn't know if the Echo was going to go against you or not. So let's go something that I'm very, very comfortable with. It was a set. Now that you're allowed to, maybe flex that knowledge, maybe you do send it and really give the main roster team a chance to shine. Because remember, again, Big Wheel and Miss Piggy are those substitutes. I personally would be in the pocket of, you have to think long-term as well as short-term, right? This is the fact that, hey, this is week 1. We want to ensure that these certain players that are playing on this team bring forth their opportunities. So it's, I think, going to be important to see Nico take care of that. So I do believe, RMC, you are correct. We had a little bit of client trouble. So we are going to try and get that going real quick. But before we send it anywhere, before we get more updates, I do want to ask, of the 3 champions each side has picked up, which we have now seen, and those will stay the same throughout the entirety of the draft, what do you think of it so far, especially, of course, Lethbridge and their shift of mentality?
I think that Army West Point have got everything they wanted.
Okay, never mind. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, they got the Vel'Koz, and like I said, the Jhin here is almost support to that Vel'Koz to enable you to land and a lot of those follow-up skill shots, to go for that long-range artillery. And they got the Zac. I think Zac is incredibly overpowered. Kodiaks, they've got a lot of utility to picked up already. Maokai, utility tank. Zillion, straight up utility with that chrono shift as well as the speed up slowdown. The bomb's stun as well. Ashe, more of a utility support with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the volleys here. Kodiaks need to drop damage for the remainder of their composition here. So I don't know what the bans were from Army West Point. I'm expecting to see damage champions banned out. And for the side of the Kodiaks here, it's a bit harder because I feel like Army West Point, they've got damage, they've got utility, and they've got tank. They already have the bones of a composition. Anything they add out at this point is just seasoning. So, ban meta. I really want to see that Rise ban come through again. Big Wheel's most played champion, an incredibly strong meta champion as well. And maybe the Cassante. Ideally, you want to punish their blind pick champions, so you want to remove these sort of champions who don't have a lot of answers to them in the current meta.
That's so true. And the fact of the matter is this might be the last time you really get to play Cassante at that peak, right? I believe in this upcoming next patch, they are tagging a little bit of the tankiness that Cassante has brought to the table, which, again, I'm very happy to see that, right? Cassante, when Cassante was first released, I love the champion design. The ability kit as well felt very... I know it sounds bad. It sounded refreshing to me, mostly because I don't play top lane. I'm sure of it. But I love that idea, and it felt like Cassante didn't get the love that it should have. And now seeing it brought to the spotlight and immediately kind of slapped to the side here. Yeah, listen, my solo queue has been weird. It's given me a very skewed sense of the world, RMC. You don't give me that look.
Whoa. Bro, what do you mean Cassante didn't get the love? Before he was released, we went to Worlds together, you and I. And there was a long lineup to meet the voice actor of Cassante.
True,
There
true.
was a lot of love for Cassante before he came out. I think there's more hate for Cassante now that people have actually seen him come out here. Okay, has draft been fixed here?
Well, let's hope so. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see because you know what? Listen, I did love Cassante as well, but
Okay,
like, come on. In actual play, there were some questions. The champion again was fantastic, but there it is. The Akali ban. Lethbridge saying, let's not deal with that here, and then the Jax, as we were kind of wondering. Army West Point saying we do not want to give that one over. So a lot of respect handed over in that fact.
Those are Cassante counters. So if Kodiak doesn't ban Cassante here, I've just got to assume that Nico is going to blind that Cassante and then save the counter pick for mid lane, for Big Wheel, which is frankly terrifying considering that the Akali wasn't the counter and absolutely wrecked the game. Imagine what Big Wheel can do with a counter pick.
Yep. You know what? I want to see that come out here. I want to see that ban. Survey says, no, it's not Cassante. It's not Cassante. It's a Vladimir of all things. And you know what? It's open right now. For Nico, it is free range. Go ahead, grab the Cassante. Nothing left in it. Unless you think Enristanla is going to go something like a Vayne top, I don't even think you care about it then. So, right now, Army West Point are saying it's free game. We don't even have to pick it right now. Let's go ahead and hover our mid. The Emperor is going to be making an appearance.
Okay, so first up, where's this Vladimir coming from? Like, this is catching me. Like, I'm blindsided by this. Who plays Vladimir right now on either of these teams here? And they're letting Cassante through. Army West Point banned the Cassante counters and then gave it over. They better have another one in their back pocket. Either that or they're daring Aristotle here to say that you don't know how to play the champion. And we want you to pick it because we know you don't know how to play it. And we're going to wreck you. We are going to see the Azir come out. And that is one of the few champions, right now, which kind of go even with Ryze. You outrange the Ryze a little bit. You can knock him out. Ryze will get tankier as the game goes on. Yep, okay. That's fair. Aristotle not going to try and play with fire here. Going with the Yone. Actually, wait, no. It's going to be a Ryze top again, isn't it? It's going to be another mage top.
I think so. It's also just a takeaway. You were talking about it, right? Big Wheel, very, very nice on the rise and saying, okay, we don't want to deal with that, so let's take it away. But, yeah, I mean, this is... Army West Point just drew the winning lotto ticket 5 times over, it feels like. They have gotten everything that they want. Yeah. These are champions that will run rampant here. I mean, if you want to go to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory 5 times over and over again and just own the factory at that point, it feels like that for Army West Point.
Yeah, I mean, they drew Exodia, right? They've got a really good competition. It's really, really solid here. They got the Cassante, sure, it's an R5, probably not where it needed to be, but the Cassante is a perfectly fine pickup here. It can handle the Yone. Against the Ryze, the problem with Ryze is that he's still a scaling champion. In the laning phase, he tends to run out of mana, which is why you don't usually see Ryze played in the top lane, the long lane. Because once he runs out of mana in that long lane, he's in a lot of trouble, especially, if the enemy doesn't push into you the wave is pushing away from you here. So I don't know yet, if that Ryze is going to be top or mid. But either way, it's not going to be a great matchup into Cassante. It's very similar to what we saw last game with the Set and Echo, where it's going to be mana versus health. And Cassante's health will outlast your mana here. Kodiak's composition. We did say they needed damage. Yep, it's going to be Ryze top. Yep. Okay. Yep. We said Kodiak's, maybe they draft Comfort here. This feels like a Comfort draft. The Maokai is meta. The Ryze is somewhat meta, but where you're putting the Ryze is not. Yes. Yone, not a bad pick in the current meta, especially into something like an Azir. You can punish the Azir. That's a hand check right there. You win it, there's a chance. But the Ashe Zillion bot side, that feels like Comfort coming through. And for Kodiaks right now, I guess if I look at the composition, I'm saying that they might look for, picks with that Ashe. But more than anything else, what I'm looking for Orbital from Kodiaks is surviving the laning phase. You pick Comfort champions. If you fall in the laning phase, I don't know what you're going to do against the meta army that Army West have just dropped themselves here.
Yeah, they done so well. And again, this is Army West Point, again, showing us that their backbone to their collegiate system, I would say, is very, very strong, right? This is now the 2nd time in a row that they have drafted a fairly solid composition. Mid to late was game number 1. This time it's just all around, early, mid, late. powerhouses. This is whoever is their coach, whatever system that they have in place, they've studied, right? They're playing strictly by the book. They know exactly what they have to go for. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. They've literally taken the book of League of Legends, slapped it in the faces of 5 players, and said, do this. And for Kodiak, it feels like they are up against that stone wall. When you're up against something that is so well practiced in that sense, it does feel insurmountable. So, as you said, falling back to comfort, falling back to, yeah, we know that this might not be meta, but we just want to be able to play the game. That's kind of what it's coming down to. My eyes, of course, looking at that bot lane. Like I said, I would have liked a bit more engage. I love engage against squishies like the Vel'Koz, like a Jhin. Go ahead, try and jump them, try and take them out early, whatever. The CC that's coming out, though, if they land it, will be annoying and frustrating as well. So I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, my eyes are drawn to the bot lane as well. I mean, top side's going to be relatively slow unless somebody misplays. Looking at you, Rise. As long as Rise positions properly, it's actually... Cassante will be able to trade and punish a little bit, but Rise, as long as you don't overstep, shouldn't die till at least level 6. And again, likewise for Cassante, as long as you know your limits and how much poke you can take, you should be fine. Mid lane should be too volatile to level 6. Again, Yone needs that ultimate to get that kill threat. Bot side, though, starting from level 2, level 3, especially if junglers get involved, there are a lot of squishy members here. Although you're talking about engage from the side of Kodiaks here, well, Army West Point have that with the Zac. And granted, usually level 5 Zac is when he gets scary. 3 points in that elastic slingshot. That's when he can come out from a pretty long distance, about a screen and a half away. But yeah, early on, we saw last time as well, if you sneak into a bush, you get that gank off. Ashe Zillion, very, very, very squishy. Even with that chrono shift, even post 6 here, the staying power that a Zac, that a Vel'Koz, that a Jhin have can easily re-kill you on that Resurrect.
Yeah, the Resurrect is only really good if you're on the aggressive, I feel. Like, it allows you to go forward without too much of an issue. When you're running away, it's great if the rest of the team's there to help you out, but in that lane, you're probably just going to die over and over again. So we'll have to see how that one pans out. In your eyes, though, I got to ask, with that mid lane, I love the matchup. It's very fun. I like whenever a Yone comes out here because we either see a really good Yone or a really rough Yone. And I say that with all the love in the world for anyone that mains Yone and Yasuo. I still hate you because you destroy my lane all the time. If we see it here, Big Wheel has shown that they can play a very methodical game, right? Game number 1 was the Akali. Very standard, didn't exactly pop off, I would say. Had some stellar outplays. Do we get to see that with the Emperor here? Do we actually get to see Big Will say, okay, it's my turn, Miss Piggy, to be a ridiculous monster in my lane?
So the answer to your question, Orbital, is you should probably move out of mid lane to maybe top lane.
Don't listen! I'll see y'all later. I'm done. I'll see you later.
Okay, while Orbital's away, we'll actually answer his question about that mid matchup there between the Yone and the Azir. Azir, I think, has a comfortable time up the lane with the range advantage here. Yone's about the kill threat. And I said it before, Zedpies is hands checking at this point with this Yone. If you cannot find the kills, if you can't hands check this, then it's not going to work. So it really comes down to Zedpies in this case, more than Big Wheel, I feel like. Big Wheel, I think, is really solid. We saw last game on the Akali. He's not going to mess up. He's going to play it by the book. And if you play it by the book, Azir is incredibly oppressive onto this Yone. It's up to the Yone to figure out ways to find that engage. If you land that ult, great. If you don't land that ult, you're in for a rough lane.
Of course, and taking a look on the other side then, because as we said, Big Wheels will play very standard, very practical. Then it once again falls on Footy, who this time around does not have, I would say, the most optimal ganking champion, right? Doesn't have that far range extension that if I would, the range to actually get in and get the CC down is a little bit shorter. But still, Maokai can do some work. Are you going to focus that mid lane? Are you going to focus that top lane? Where are you going with that Maokai is the big question as we do load onto the Rift for game number 2. Hopefully this mid lane does not turn into my solo queue, and we get to see some more awesome gameplay as these two champions have given us so many times before. Zedpies not on the Pantheon, on the Yone, a champion that can be very brutal in the mid to late game. But of course, we know what Army West Point, the 5-point setup here in the bot lane.
Yeah, and this was what I think was missing last time for Army West Point when Miss Piggy went alone into the bush. They learned their lesson this time. They're not sending the immobile Vel'Koz on a solo mission here. But for Kodiaks, they're playing it safe as well. They don't want to risk anything level 1. like we kind of alluded to a little bit, they've got good scaling with the Rise and the Yone. They don't have great level 1, so they don't want to be fighting this year. Play it passive. Deep vision as well to be able to track chaotic wars. I thought we were looking at the ward, but apparently no. Our observer has decided that the lizard there is
It's
more
a lizard. That's Greg. That's Greg, by the way.
Is that Greg?
The one that we
Okay.
saw in game 1 is Carl.
Ah, I see. As a minion,
Yes.
we call those dinner.
Oh, that's mean. Don't do Greg like that. Why would you do Greg like that?
Oh, we didn't. That's why Greg's still there. We ate Carl.
Oh, okay. Now I'm just sad. Agreed. Oh man, what like? Do you eat the Krugs then? Is that what you do then? Like, is that like hard tack for you or something?
Krugs are rocks. What do you
Yeah.
eat, man?
I listen. I have some questions about my own diet. Oh, the butterflies. Oh no, another lizard. I forgot. That's that's Dave. Dave hides out away from you guys. You guys are scary if you're eating his family.
Dave chills outside the red pit. Dave has no friends. Don't be.
Just call him out on that one, will you? Jeez. Dave's a loner. Dave will never see another pit.
Hey, I will say this though for Dave. Dave will live where Greg. No. So, back to the player here, bro. Because speaking of living and dying here, you talked a little bit about Maokai Footy ganking a bit, right? And I think Maokai has a pretty easy time ganking that he's got a point and click, so that's good. And I would ideally like to see Footy actually gank the bot side. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on this bot lane, but we already saw Chaotic Wars kind of predict where he was going last time, so I feel it's a bit more of a mind game right now. Footy just wants to be where Chaotic Wars isn't. So, because, you know, bot side's where the action should be here, Footy actually started on the bottom side of the map and is pathing to the top side. And if you see Chaotic Wars did the opposite, actually went buff to buff for an earlier access to that bot lane here. So I like where Footy's head is at. And the question now is, can you pull off the gank onto Nico? And do you have enough damage to kill Cassante? Because Andersonla right now already lost half health, and Nico is still completely healthy.
Well, that's because Enristanla's not in the top lane. RMC. Did I just be RMC with an absolute bait and switch? Let's go! I
did not catch that. Okay. I am blind. As soon as you think about dinner there.
That's fair. Food makes anyone hungry. Think about food or anything like that. But yes, Zedpies is actually in the top lane. They have decided to swap it up. Nico is now against the Yone, which I do feel breathes a little bit better life. Making sure that you have that accessibility to just raw auto attacks against Nico and not having to rely on mana. They took your advice once again, RMC. They said, okay, place that Rise in the mid lane, allow that shorter lane for easier recalls or anything of the sort, and maybe that Rise can hit the perfect balance. Nice double stun on the bot side.
Yeah, good poke actually. Pika really showing his comfort on this champion gank into the mid lane here. Will force out the flash. Now, both junglers actually hovering around this mid lane here. And while Andersonla has less health to play this out, Big Wheel's almost out of mana. So if Footy actually wants to commit to this, I think it would actually think it's a good idea. But Footy, where are you going? Go back mid.
No. Footy's just playing towards that top side, and again, not wanting to bring that gank, but Nico.
Wow.
Nico easily saw that, right? No worries whatsoever. Saw that sweep go through, and that is just very nice heads up, right? It's nice to see that laners' heads are on a swivel. That is every jungler's dream, ensuring that setup. Big Wheel. Though, once again, you were talking about the mana consumption, and it's still doing just fine, right? The soldiers and the Qs do not actually take that much up. On the top side, we do see Zedpies going ahead, getting some great tag damage down, dodging out on the Q, and going right back to the lane.
Yeah, and the lane matchups changed a lot, right? Because before we were talking about Andersonla running out of mana in that push against the Cassante, but against the Azir here, you're actually not quite as bad. Because while Azir, his soldiers don't take up quite as much mana here, his Qs poke will. So it's really about trading health for mana once again in a different sense here. It's a lot squishier. It sticks a lot better in that mid lane. Both of them running TP as well means that it won't matter. Bot side pretty snuck in here.
And I think that is huge. A beautiful setup here. And now the double bomb as well. This is something that Lethbridge could not do last time, but they pull it off flawlessly this time. Jeju saying, I don't even want to waste the summoner spells. Double kill on the bot side.
Footy successfully playing the mind games here. We talked on how important the bot lane is. Footy pot top, went back bot side, caught Jeju, and Miss Piggy Revenge sleeping a little bit. This is a great start for the Kodiaks. You can see they really did reset their mental between games, but the Dragon might be an overextension. It's early in the game, yet Death Timers are so short. Jeju and Miss Piggy are already back on the map. They're back at the Dragon Pit.
And the fact that Food Battle did not want to roam over either very early on means that this is now a contested fight. Chaotic War wants to try and help out. And they are. Remember, look, Pikey has no mana, has to flash away. In goes Footy, knocking them all back. And Revenge might be taken quite low. Another little zap, can't get the kill. One more auto strike, the bomb's going to take it. Now a jump on that bot lane means Food Battle loses their life as soon as they got that double kill. A great turnaround right back to AWP.
Yeah, able to equalize the goal with just those 2 kills as well here. Really well played from them and how they executed that. And I feel like Kodiaks, just as us praising them for the good early start they had, like I said, overextended a little bit. You pointed out Pikey just didn't have mana. And unfortunately, as a Zillion, if you have no mana, you're potentially even worse than a caster minion.
I think so. I don't think Zillion has very good base damage stats, right? Like that's just a painful truth out there. What is that? 59. Okay, so base 59. What are we looking at on a? Can we pan over? Like RMC, how much do you hit someone for?
Caster minions, I think, have around like 30 or 40 attack damage. It's not very high, so
yeah.
We're in a similar range to Zillion there. There's more caster minions. They actually hurt in a wave here, but yeah, you don't want to be compared to an individual caster minion. That's never a good comparison to make.
You really don't. That is one of the things I've gotten bad, right? That's a rough time. But still, also keep in mind where those kills went, right? The kills went to Chaotic War, which means now they can still fight it out, and they are going to get a little bit of a root. Big Wheel is going to be taken a little bit low, but the rest of the team is here because the bot lane decided to show up, and the shuffle brings them all forward. Welcome to the House of Pain. It is AWP that takes 2 in the mid lane. Big Wheel perfectly okay because, again, Pikey barely hits harder than a caster minion.
And that's with the bomb, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Oh, that was close. Nice try from Food Battle. Really, really nice try. But Army West Point here, their coordination was something we praised a lot in Game 1, how they played out a lot of these fights. And we saw it again there. Perfect.
Yeah, 30.
Big Wheel. Perfect shuffle to hand deliver everything to the Zac, to the Jhin as well. And it feels like for Army West Point, their side lanes were doing actually really, really well. But that is starting to change a little bit the more they try and play around that mid lane. And if you are Kodiaks here, there's no rush. Your Rise is going to scale here. Don't play around the mid lane. That's your biggest CS differential. Go back to that bot side where Food Battle's been doing well, where Pikey's been doing well. Go to that top side where Zedpies has been pushing in Nico for most of this game.
And that's a huge thing, right? We talked about the main shift in the top lane. And, I mean, Game 1, the top laners didn't have really an amazing opportunity to really show off. It felt like AWP just continuously rolled the game. This time around, they're on even footing, right? We can take a look at the CS differential, which is pretty much no differential this time. 3 CS, that's what, half a wave even? There's no real difference in there. So Zedpies has been doing a fantastic job of holding on, and that's why we're seeing Chaotic Wars now roam up here. So far, the junglers have actually been on opposite sides of the map. They have not worried too much. In we go, though. Chaotic Wars does not have ulti, does not have flash, and because of that, you have no way out. You are going to dash over in towards the side of your team, and you might get out. Yes, you do. You get the safety, but then you have to go right back, and you get a knock-up, and you only get the blobs. And now your main source of damage is gone. A great little divide brings Footy away from the team, and it's enough. It is time. You get one, you get two, and Ristanla says, give me that opportunity, and the Rise gathers 2 back. It was messy, it was chaotic, and in the end, it's 2 for 2.
Well, if you're Kodiak, you take that. That was a pretty heads-up play from them there. They actually come out, I'd argue, a little bit ahead even in that particular set of actions, considering they had to kill Chaotic Wars twice. The problem is what happened on the other side of the map. Army West Point here. Keep in mind that the early gank onto Jeju, onto Miss Piggy, set them on the back foot. The moment they saw Footy topside, though, they started playing aggressive right away, looking to punish here. Pike not able to stop the backs, and you can tell the strength of this Jhin Vel'Koz bot lane is still there. They're only being held in check by the threat of these realm warps, of these ganks coming in from the Kodiak side.
I mean, I think this is actually why AWP are actually swapping up here. So they did swap out Nico, and I was wondering if this was a full swap or not. I was very, very curious if that was a thing. It looks like they are swapping back, though, and I was trying to keep track of this. So Big Wheel should not stay up here any longer. And they are going to go back to the standard laning. Okay, so Nico's going back to the top side. But it is true. Enristanla, who was able to grab 2 kills, is now going to be stacking up that rod a little bit quicker. You can already see most of the components getting ready to be set up into that mythic, which, again, one of the most frustrating if gotten early on. It provides so much extra HP that for any sort of poke mage, it's annoying, right? You're just like, bruh, why can't I cut... Oh, right, this item.
Yeah, but it isn't that early, Orbital. We're already at 11.5 minutes, and Aristotle has not completed the Rod of Aegis yet. It will probably be some time yet here. I do like this productivity, though, from Kodiaks. Zed Pies has been doing amazingly in that top lane, and that's giving them the chance to go for this Herald. It will be contested, though. Almost stolen.
Footy did not want to smite, which is kind of crazy to me, but now they're going to have to fight for it. You can already see Big Wheels planning to get in range. But a good flash out means Footy stalls out that entire engage, because guess who's here? All the supports. Zed Pies, again, with that shadow, almost picks it up. I wonder if Zed Pies had sacrificed that ulti, if that would have been a kill. That could have been a solo right there.
Probably would have been. I mean, Chaotic Wars does not have his cell division back up yet, so there is no Bloblet. A kill is a kill right there. And for Zed Pies, I actually applaud him holding the ultimate for now, because getting the kill there would have put him in a very awkward position. He holds that ultimate, and he can still fight with Nico. If he loses it, Nico is probably going to look for that all-in right away there. And Zed Pies, I was just saying, he's been doing so well in this lane. He's what's giving Kodiak control on this top side of the map. And we said that Yone is a hands check champion. Zed Pies is passing that hands check. Big Wheel did not look comfortable in that lane. Nico doesn't look comfortable in that lane.
Well, it's been 5 minutes. You know what that means. It's dragon time. Once again, AWP got dragon number 1. It was a mountain dragon. This time is a cloud. Oh. I totally thought they were going to go for it. They did it last time, so I guess not. But it is a cloud. It's one that's not actively sought after, so you don't want to lose members at that time. So we'll go ahead and just give it some moments, see which team actually decides to go for it. In the meantime, both the ADCs, who have been quietly farming away, have crested the 100 CS mark. Feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I don't think either team was really set up to take it necessarily. They didn't have full vision, full control, and I think Kodiak, they were getting flashbacks to the last time they went for the dragon here. So wise call, I think, for them not to go for it until they know absolutely where Chaotic Wars is, or they get a kill to kick things off. And for Army West Point, we said before, they're very disciplined in how they play. They're not taking a lot of risks with their play. Chaotic Wars is back up on the map, is trying to get control bot side right now, first before they look at the dragon.
It is interesting to say that, right? And it becomes more apparent that they are very much we will play as safe as possible. We'll take that, you know, that 80% chance, even though a 60 or a 60-40 or even a 50-50 shows up. They're a team that will not really commit to a specific play unless it's a 70-30 or 80-20 chance for themselves. So we see that come out here with how slow it's been. We have not seen AWP take any chances at a dive. We haven't seen them go super over-aggressive. We haven't seen them get caught out. At the same time, it's allowed LC to Lethbridge to be able to farm up a little bit more. So I only bring that up because, again, game 1 got out of control very quickly. And this time around, it's just, it feels like that quiet walk in a park to an extent.
Yeah, and this time, too, Kodiaks have skilling on their side. So it's perfectly acceptable for them to take this more laid-back approach to give over these 2 early dragons if they so wish. The gold lead has actually been quietly shrunk a little bit. It was 2k in advantage after that sort of Herald fight for Army West Point, but now it's only 1,500 gold. The problem, though, is Army West Point. We saw what happened last game, too. They know how to push an advantage. They're waiting for their power spikes, and until I see Kodiak survive the power spike, those mythics coming through, the 2-item power spike here, I can't really say that, you know, the Kodiaks are in a great position just yet. They're doing really well compared to game 1, but they don't look or feel like they're winning just yet.
It's also the fact that the teams have not really gathered up. At this point, at 15.5 minutes, everyone was gathered up together. And this is a better one as well. This is how you deal with the Cassante. Bring a couple more members and just absolutely pummel him into the ground. No mythic, no real tankiness stats to speak of just yet. And Zedpies is starting to get ready to shred everyone. TP coming in from Big Wheel, so you're not going to get the tower, which, again, first tower is already down. Big bully moment, though. Great kill given over to, I think that was Enristamla again.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't Zedpies. And I feel a little bit bad for Zedpies here, who's doing a lot of the work to set up these kills, but actually not getting the kills. And as a Yone, you know, you really do want to be picking those up. Ryze will skill up regardless. Ryze kills more on gold and time necessarily than kills here. But Yone, if you can accelerate him, feels much, much stronger here. Still, you take what you can get. Unfortunately, they don't get plays. That was 50.5 minutes when that Herald charge went down. So, it's all or nothing with turret gold at this point here. And unfortunately for Zedpies, he has to finish this off. He has to put in extra work here.
This is going to be the chance. And again, still a much better time. But now we are taking a look at this river battle. We can see a lot of the words come out here as it's Chemtech's soul to be fought for here. And this now means that teams get to deal with vision issues a little bit more. This is the downside to it. You can see all the pings going down and the wards losing their health. It's going to mean that the fight over this vision pit will leave everyone in the dark, and that, I feel, leans into AWP a little bit more, right? Allows for more chaos with Chaotic War, allows Cassante to really wrap around, get that flank if you so wish, or even the Shurima Shuffle to come out. AWP should have a ball with the current setup for global objectives.
Yeah, and the thing to note too is that it's still 2 minutes away from Dragon, so neither team really wants to set up the vision just yet. What? Okay, we just missed some of the biggest action here. We were just singing Zedpie's praises, and the last time we saw Big Wheel match up against him in lane, it did not go well for the Emperor of Shurima. So what changed?
What changed is probably, I honestly don't know. I wish we had seen it because that came out of nowhere. That happened just like the bot lane kill that came out from Jeju in game number 1, right? Just like, oh yeah, they got a kill. It's okay, no big deal. The Emperor knows that the Emperor is strong, so why even watch the Emperor do work? That's kind of what the Observer was probably telling us there. Still though, it is a kill on a champion that, again, we have been hyping up as one of the ways to cut through Nico, to be that big, you know, get Cassante out of the fight, and we can access the backline. If Zedpies is losing that, this is going to be a problem come mid-game for those larger team fights that are going to occur.
Ooh. And Zedpies decides to commit TP into the
as well. Oh, and the predicts. Yeah, that's going to be the disintegration rate to come out. As soon as you TP back to lane, you are dead for a second time.
Doubly worse. It was bad enough overall the first time because he TPs, they lose all dragon control, which will be spawning in about 30 seconds. AWP is able to get there and set up their vision line first, but if you die right after your TP, now your turret's in jeopardy, you lose Herald, and Army West Point still have priority on that dragon move.
They have everything. They have everything and more, and now they found a route. The kitty cats, all the kittens are now going to die. This is a painful truth that has to be stated. Footy, well, okay, maybe I lied. That's going to be a runaway, and now Nico is on the wrong side. Footy is going to continue to run on the flip. We are seeing auto attack after auto attack go down. They're trying to chase Miss Piggy, but it is all for naught. The clearing of the trees has lended itself to another kill for Chaotic Wars, who even on this Zac is 4-1-2.
Okay, but no, Footy created an opportunity for them because look, Army West Point. Oh, can they catch him?
Oh, that's an angry flash if I've ever seen one. That was, we gotta make a play and we will get it. That ward gave so much power. Who placed that ward? Can we see? Ah, no, it doesn't matter. We're gonna see Big Wheel have to flash away for their own safety, and as you said, RMC, the opportunity now arises.
Yeah, and getting Jeju is just icing on the cake here. They get control over Dragon. They're going to be able to take this one here. Miss Piggy Revenge out is still not back up. Zedpies is just threatening on the side.
Oh, but look at that damage. This is why we are seeing a change, but 2 ultimates used now, and they're going to leave Zedpies.
No,
Zedpies is going to survive, which is actually bad here. What a turnaround. A little bit of disjointed action now means that Zedpies is down, and now the turnaround, the disintegration rate is going to be tried to do work. Footy is able to only take 1, but 2 are down on the side of Lethbridge. Painful reminder that sometimes you gotta back away from a fight. You're going to lose a third as Food Battle loses this battle and now has to watch a gray screen. Dragon now open for the taking for Army West Point.
Oh, I am tilted watching that. The Immortal Shield Bow actually killed Zedpies. He would have had the resurrect. He would have come back if the lifeline didn't proc. But because it did, it kept him alive just long enough for the resurrect to expire. And suddenly, Kodiaks, they had so many advantages. It looked so good for them. But instead of committing to the dragon, it's going to be Army West Point at Soul Point here. Yes, Observer, we're looking at the lone hero and survivor here from the Kodiaks, the Ward, legal map hacks from Riot here. It's such a good idea. And for Kodiak, it's rough for this to happen, but it's not the end of the world just yet. 4.5 minutes, they can still fight for Soul, and the scaling is coming in. You're seeing how tanky Aristonla is in a lot of these fights. He's able to just kind of stand there and deliver. Seraph's Embrace just completed. 1 stack away from a completed Rod of Ages. They're about to hit their power step.
When Rise gets rolling, we're going to see why Rise is prioritized as such a huge meta pick in the current state of things. It's going to be really frustrating because, again, the only player that currently has half the kills of Lethbridge is Aristonla. Like, that is the whole reason that we are watching this with high anticipation. We have not seen a full team fight really break out from LC. AWPE have really been on point in ensuring that these fights do not go a full front to back. Zedpies, on the flip side though, has completed that Immortal Shield, but as you said, and only really has a cloak on the back end, and is now going to dance in, decides to jump in, steal away the blue, can't make it happen. So you just burn that ulti and now have to wait a little bit longer before you can engage with the team again.
Thankfully, that's Baron right there. That's not a Herald. If that was Herald, it's gone.
Yeah.
Baron takes a little bit more than a spent ultimate from that Yone, but that's a lot of attention from the side of Kodiak to that top lane here. Nico is going to get to push bot side. Speaking of Heralds, I didn't even realize it was still in somebody's inventory there with this push. This is a problem for Kodiaks. Look at them. They're not in position to answer this just yet. And if they do, they lose all control over that Baron pit where they were trying to reclaim vision.
I mean, it's a vision battle that's not going their way, and it's so good of Army West Point. They are again showing why they are one of the big powerhouses. This team that made it to 3rd place. They are showing off why they are so strong here. It doesn't matter if they have subs; they will always be on that forefront, and it's very, very impressive. And so far, we are talking about, you know, Big Wheel and Miss Piggy. Are they the shot callers? Right now, Chaotic War is showing off that, hey, no. Even in game 1, I was a big pick. This time around as well, I am matching in the number of kills. 4, 1, and 5. 150 gold bounty on the top of the head. Already has that Demonic Embrace ready to go. And working towards that Radiant Virtue, which frustrating items right now.
Just completed.
Yep.
The frustration's about to abound from this frankly overpowered blob here. Zach is an issue, and I'm still looking for somebody to cut through this blob. Footy has a Demonic Embrace, but this is patch 13.1b. It got nerfed. Maokai doesn't shred as much damage, and then who else is going to be cutting through this health tank? Ashe, as we expected, did not go Blade of the Ruined King here, so you don't have that % health shred. Aristonla, yeah, kind of strong, but I was highlighting the tankiness of the Rise, not the damage just yet, because Aristonla has kills for 1-1, but the CS numbers are not amazing on this Rise, so the damage isn't fully there yet, much less the damage to cut through a health tank that is that Zac. So big problems right now if they're going to be fighting on open ground. We've seen that the last couple of fights. The question is, can Kodiaks manufacture an environment, a fight, where they don't have to deal with Chaotic War diving their back line here? Can they find a pick around this side?
Can you find a pick from a champion that can literally jump on you off of your screen? The answer? Probably not. I'm sorry. That Zac gets so annoying. And again, with this vision denial, it's going to be a problem. As again, you take a look at the ward setup here. LC, they got locked out of the Baron, and now they're going to have that same issue occur on this Dragon side. Minute left on Dragon, and that is Soul, right? You have to play for it. Pikey flashing away on a bare sliver right there. Chaotic War is getting so much value out of that, also out of food battle. So now your bot lane has no way to get away again. And that means you kind of have to take the fight here. Nice bomb slows down Cassante. You do get a great 2-man ulti. But I mean, who has the follow-up? There's no one really there. This time around, though, that Chrono Shift works its magic. Chaotic War gonna bounce him straight into the back of the team. Rest of the team, though, backing up here for Zedpies. And Lethbridge They have to concede. Look at the HP difference here. Look at AWP. They are all very healthy. Chaotic Wars has Cell Division up, so you're not even worried. And it's 10 seconds to Dragon. Welcome to round 2.
Yeah, and Kodiak, they don't have the ultimates this time. Their combat ultimates are down, and Enchanted Crystal Arrow just came up. But at this point, that's an initiate. That is not a big team fight ultimate here. Zedpie's not exactly in the flank position either. Running back from base right now. I don't think
oh my god.
TP.
Oh! Welcome to the Arrow Show! Food Battle steals that one away. I can't believe that.
What? We were just saying it's not a combat ultimate. That was supposed to be an initiate, but somehow it sneaks away the kill here. Is this an AP Ash? It's not even an AP Ash. How? How did Food Battle do it?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. But again, the state of the fact, you denied Soul. You don't deny the Baron. Like, you just can't do that, right? You lost footy, so AWP are still very happy about this current situation, and now they might get a second as Zedpie's tried to work some magic, tried to do the same that Food Battles did. Can't make it happen. You are now on the wrong side. Have to use the ulti to break their way back to the tower, and Enristonla is still just shoving away as quickly as possible. They want to get this rise as quickly as possible to that high barrier. The question is, how much are they going to lose in the mid lane?
Yeah, and Enristonla has to go back to base soon enough here. Army West Point, they were not pleased by that Dragon Steel here. They are looking to push with this Baron buff right now. That turret is so low. Does it get the... No!
Oh.
He just needed to protect one wave there. I don't think that was the right call from Army West Point. I think they backed too early here. And because of that, and they didn't envision of Kodiak. So Enristonla is going to get 2 turrets here with this push. Okay, not quite the second one. Oh,
nope.
wow.
No, I didn't think either this was going to be a chance, but Pikey is also here to ensure that Enristonla doesn't have to use that Realm Warp to get away. And I think we're going to start seeing Enristonla become a big issue now. We saw how quickly that tower was going down. Yes, it's not as fast as any other auto-attacking pusher, but it's still the wave clear and the AWP decision to, hey, we aren't going to deal with it as quickly as we would like to because you saw the push in the mid lane. If you allow this rise to keep CSing, to keep scaling up, that could be, again, that window of opportunity. So we'll see what they do with this Baron. Again, the Baron's still up for another minute and a half. Tower goes up in the mid lane from Big Wheel, so the Emperor sets up shop here in the mid lane, and they should get it. They should get this tower, break it open, be able to push for that inhibitor tower as well. There it is. Tower does go down. 4 towers for the side of Army West Point.
And they're going to keep pushing here. Can they find the catch onto Jeju?
Nope, not at all. Arrow, everything used. They do get the knock up, but the damage to follow from Zedpies does nothing more than tickle Jeju.
Not enough for the kill, and now we're seeing Nico do the exact same thing where he's just pushing top here. Footy trying to stop the Maokai has no damage. Nico is not feeling threatened by this whatsoever.
Chaotic is bringing chaos wherever they go, and welcome to Pain Town number 3. The tower is going to be another knock-up, and they cut down the tree once again. And somewhere along the lines, Food Battle died to Chaotic War, which now opens this up to a 3v5 push. AWP have top lane under the control, have mid lane slightly behind, and bot lane getting shoved by Jeju.
They're just splitting and doing sort of a 3-1-1 or 2-1-2 sort of push happening here. Yeah, it looked like Food Battle just got caught in rotation, trying to cover that top side there. And that's the problem. When you lose that mid inner turret, you sort of lose control and you're kind of cut in half here. They should be able to get this again. Okay, they do protect the siege cannon this time here. And that's the base broken open. Job done with that Baron buff for Army West Point. They can now look to fight inside the enemy base on open ground. Because so far, Kodiaks have done a great job avoiding a lot of these 5v5s and looking for the picks from Zedpies here. You can't do that anymore when they fight the inhibitor. You have to defend that, and they're able to force you into a 5v5.
Force into a 5v5. I've never heard a 5v5 sound so rough, right? Like, I've never heard a 5v5 being said like it's not a good thing, but it's true. You are being forced into a situation that you do not want to be in, and especially with the rise of this dragon in about 55 seconds, it's going to be another problem. Now, of course, they are setting up appropriately to ensure Food Battle can't do another sneak away, and it looks like Pikey has to lose that flash. That is on command, by the way. That is the second time Pikey has lost their flash outside of the Dragon Pit.
Can I just point out, Chaotic Ores, who's enabling a lot of these picks, has gone full man mode and picked up a Magi. So I appreciate that.
Yes. Did it have the Dark Seal stack beforehand though? That's always a big question. Did they upgrade before? Or did they just like pick it up raw? Did they just say not just Magi's? That's the big question.
I mean, he probably had enough gold to just go full Magi's here. Top laners dueling away. Nico, no TP here, so ZPie could potentially join the fight.
Well, right now, ZPie is just going ham, and actually, Nico able to dash away. In goes with the flash. Do you get the follow-up? It's taken quite low, and you get a little bit of a swap, and then the bleed damage works is magic. That will be a kill for ZPie, and because of that, they do have to be worried about this TP. They drag the dragon out of the pit. AWP. This is actually risky. I hate saying it, but this is actually risky. Arrow goes out. The steal! But the steal for Moke! Moke gets it, and now the fight's going to break out. Shurima Shuffle brings them all back, though. AWP fight back in resounding order. Big Wheel tried their best to do some work, but it is not going to be enough. It is going to be the fall in death as ZPie's healed up, ready to fight. Another kill is ready. Miss Piggy's revenge. No revenge here today. The Blobs will only survive a little bit longer. Miss Piggy, though, said Pikey. Gosh, I can't get these names tonight. It's going to be a problem, but the Empowered Blast Cone brings ZPie's straight close to Miss Piggy. Of all the fights, Lethbridge able to bring it back. Yes, you got the dragon. Oh, and the ulti. Oh no, Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy! That's a shutdown. ZPie just got an influx of so much gold.
It was so close. Miss Piggy almost got to kill all the way home, but ZPie is starting to pop off here. This Yone, we said it was a problem before. I do want to highlight the orbital. That was a 4v5 from the side of Army West Point, and this is precisely why I've said so. The Kodiaks have been trying to avoid these massive fights here. Even down a man, Army West Point were still able to fire back and fight even. That was a 4-for-4 when all was said and done, and that was with Nico kind of picked out outside the fight. Kodiaks, though, the scaling is in their favor, and they're starting to feel a bit more confident. Before, they didn't want to contest at all. Now, they can at least walk in and look for this.
Chaotic War, you do not have Cell Division. Yes, you're extremely tanky. We understand that. But trying to go for Food Battle, who, again, Chaotic War is just like, I just want this Ashe dead. I just want this Ashe dead as quickly as possible. I love that fact. That's completely funny to me right now. Food Battle, though, rounding out with the rest of the team. And again, with that steal, it means that AWP do not have that soul to work with. They do not have the resistance buff, which quite honestly would actually work in their favor if they were able to pick it up, right? It would bring a little bit of tenacity to their side. Nico, though, going to get stunned up. I'm not sure if that's the one you want to fight, but they are going to chase on it. In goes the Twisting Vines as Footy forces everyone away from the Baron.
But keep in mind, this entire time, Big Wheel is pushing bot, did not TP up there. Only Aristonla has TP to match. ZPie's does not.
Oh, and they found it, though. That's a big... Oh! Jeju lives with a sliver. I think that's only like 5 or 10 HP. That has to be double digits only. But nevertheless, it's a survival. They win. That gives AWP huge power to keep pushing on the bot side, as you said. And Ristanla, this champion that is forward 2-1, has 3 items in the pocket, still can't deal with Big Wheel.
Can't reach Big Wheel. You saw the slow was massive, and because now they have to call ZPie's down to assist on that, Army West Point, they get themselves a free Baron here. TP coming through from Aristonla.
No ulti on the Crystal Arrow, so this is gonna be a little bit of stun, but that's the Baron's finding a way. So Kodiaks, they don't want to test it. They say, okay, we understand what's going on here. Let's go ahead, back away, take a breath, and get ready for the push.
Orbital, 34 minutes here. This is a lot longer than game 1. We had questions about Kodiaks. They've answered them. This is a scrappy team, and keep in mind, they just got promoted to Division A, and they have to face the former 3rd place team here. I think they've done a great accounting, but Army West Point, they were 3rd place for a reason. We're seeing their resilience here. Turret finally goes down. That's an outer turret here. They actually held that outer turret on the top side for so long. Mid outer turret still standing, and with this Baron right now, Army West Point are once again firmly in the driver's seat.
And taking a look right now, I was hoping Lethbridge were actually grouped up a little bit quicker, but Pikey is currently running from the Dragon Pit over. Took a little bit of a route just to try and get the boards down. But finally, they are grouped up here. And it looks like it's going to be a 1-4. So right now, AWPE just waiting for that top lane to push in. Bot lane will push in on its own, of course. So they're just giving it a little bit of time. Zedpie is trying to pick up a little extra CS. Wants to hit that level 18, get to full strength. Right now, it's going to be called... Ooh! Big wheel. Running over Pikey a little bit there. Half HP from a single soldier.
Yeah, I think right now Big Wheel is probably the richest person in the game. So those poke on squishy enchanters like Zillion definitely do hurt here. Nico actually rejoining the rest of the team. It looks like Kodiak's pulling the trigger.
They are going to pull the trigger, but again, that unstoppable from Cassante is going to do work. They do catch Chaotic. Chaotic is taking quite low and can't get the ult off. That's going to be a quick kill. Big Wheel on the back end, though, gets a great pin, so that means Food Battle is low enough for the disintegration ready to do work. It looks like Lethbridge have overstepped their welcome, and it is going to be the slaughter as the tree is cut down. Big Wheel with the flank. The massive gold intake opens up an opportunity. Dragons may have been stolen away twice, but it does not matter if you get those kills. Nico in the middle might have overstepped on their own terms. The final bullet streaks past everyone, but it is enough. Army West Point say thank you very much. You stepped out of tower range, you stepped away from your base, and you are punished. AWP in week number 1 take a 2-0 victory over Lethbridge College. Week number 1 with all of the substitutions. It does not matter. They will reign supreme, and they're looking for first place this season.
Army West Point game 2 took 15 minutes longer here, but they got the targets in their sights. They were just taking their time, and when they pulled the trigger, it was lethal. It was a clean finish to this game here. And Orbital, like you said, it's not the substitutes this game necessarily that made the big difference here in game 2. Chaotic Wars doing a great job on that, Zach, and Nico as well actually was the one to pull the trigger at the end there with that TP behind enemy lines, finding the extra kill. On top a bit about the Kodiaks, though. I think the Kodiaks did incredibly well. That game 2 was so close for the longest time. They did a great job holding it in there, despite the CS discrepancy we saw starting to form here. The Kodiaks really show that, you know, a team that knows how to play together, even if they're ranked lower, even if your hands might not be quite as good here, can still hang with the best of them.
Oh yeah, that and the immediate shift as well. I'm loving the variety of champions that they're bringing out as well. That is another thing to be said, because it did feel like all the way in draft, this felt lopsided. We said it at the beginning. We said that it felt like AWP had the winning lottery ticket, and yet that was a struggle bus of a game. It felt so bad. And yes, there were some steals that occurred. I understand steals do not happen all the time. And the fact that Food Battle got that first one was a miracle all on its own. But if a ragtag comfort style composition can give the golden ticket composition a run for their money, it brings a lot of hope for what we could see from this Lethbridge composition later on down the road, right? This is just a week number 1. We got so much more League of Legends action headed your way over the coming weeks, as well as so many other games. You saw it throughout the week. ESU will be covering all of it, and I'm very, very excited to see more. Do not go anywhere, though. We are going to get an interview with Army West Point, one of the members of the winning squad. Hopefully we get some insight into how they think their season will go and what their expectations are from last season to now. Please don't go anywhere.
Physically make money and build your brands along with company brands. So it's really important to learn. And my advice is to just get your feet wet. Don't worry about shying away. Read the contracts and take some of these deals, because growing your own brand is the future of what our industry is going to be, in my opinion.
Exactly. And if you follow in the pro space, you'll see that the pro teams are not only focusing on competitive play, but a lot of them are focusing on their brand and their cultural importance in the space. And so, you know, one of the things that we do also is help athletes build their brand, build their following. And that's part of what Paulie and Kyler are doing on their side when we do this behind the scenes training. And so, you know, building your brand, this is the creator economy. Anybody and everybody can be anything they want to be. And so we just really want to be the conduit that supports that across the board.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. With that said, thank you everyone for, I think, like great insights in terms of, for any of you that were watching this and maybe had questions about, you know, what is Esports U? What is CSMG? Who are they? What are they doing? What are our plans, right? Well, we know we kind of tried to make a bigger splash in the spring, and we're excited to bring more stuff with you guys for the next year. But I think maybe as we close out here, I know we're slowly approaching on time then, but maybe let's go around the room with everyone here of just what's one thing that we're all excited for this next upcoming year. I know we touched on our plans and a lot of things, but if anyone had to speak, if you had to speak to just one thing of just what has you excited for us as a company, for us as the collegiate or college esports space, right? What's one thing that has all of you guys excited? And maybe we'll start with Mike, since our traditional sports guy, and we'll let Mike speak first.
Sure. So I would say many things on the traditional side, but I'll focus on esports. And I'd say the thing that I'm most excited about going forward is after yet another year of us doing a round of events, I'm excited that more schools will understand exactly what we're doing with our regional events and culminating in CECC and getting more schools involved. I think schools will be more excited to compete in our events because we've established it over the course of a year, and I welcome any and all conversations with getting people involved.
I think for me, I'm most excited about like the schools and conferences, Mike. That's amazing. And that's so exciting. I'm also excited about the brands that we're starting to be able to get involved in this. In our Commissioner's Cup in last May, we had over 14 brands, blue chip brands participating in our event. Barbasol, Microsoft, CDW, Morgan Stanley, New Street, Air Force. And so I think brands are really starting to get excited about being involved in college esports, and we're offering them a platform that not only gives them, a big event, a big yearly event, but also regular daily programming where they can have exposure in front of this audience that they want to build affinity for with their brand. So I'm super excited about seeing the brands get on board and help grow the space along with us. A rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's probably one of our mottos here at CSMG and Esports U. We're growing our brand, but at the same time, we're also really growing the college esports space as a whole. And that's our goal, for it to be a healthy ecosystem for all parties involved.
Yeah, I agree there. And I guess for me, obviously always, seeing the collegiate esports space elevate, coming from competing, this didn't exist when I was competing, and just to see it now in literally within the last 5 years, probably really come to fruition and start just blossomed out of nowhere, and now becoming a space and seeing everyone, schools, players, productions, companies all elevate together has been really, really nice to see. But if I was the most excited for one thing, it would probably be the city where we're going to land for CC23. I'm really excited to know where we're going to be. There's a lot of great cities. I mean, I personally would love for it to come to New York, despite whether we got a positive bid or not. I want it to come to New York, but I just think the atmosphere in New York when you throw an event here is just super magical, especially in the summertime. But either way, I'm really excited to see where it lands. Tons of great cities, tons of great opportunities, and yeah, who knows? And I think that's going to be the most exciting process for me.
Absolutely. I won't speak to anything. I think I'm filling Paulie's job on this one because Paulie's more a panelist than this one. So, normally Paul's the host, and I don't know. I think me personally, I'll just say something real quick. I'm just excited to keep telling your stories. If you're a student, if you're a program, let me know. Let us, reach out to us. We just ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to tell your story. And I think that's what has me most excited, because now I think we're getting to a point where people know us. I hope you guys trust us, and and we just want to keep expanding and growing the space. So with that, Paulie, I won't make you do the weird thing where you got to toss to yourself, unless you want to do that. I don't know. Actually, you might have a funny way of doing this. All right. Let's test it. Yeah. Okay.
Right,
how do you want to throw yourself here?
Well, that's going to conclude here the future of collegiate with CSMG and Esports U. Thank you so much to Angela, Mike Blewett, and Kyler Tandel for hosting our panel. And now back to myself for the day 3 of the CSMG Coaches and Director Summit 2022.
https://twitter.com/Septiments. Don't put that in. I'll get in trouble. So that's worth it. Did I get too close to the camera on that one? A little bit too close. Should I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry about that. My bad. I've been awake for probably close to 32 hours. Like, I have to like hold my keyboard like the normal way, because if I do it, I feel like I have arthritis if I hold my keyboard like that. It blows my mind. I can never do that. This guy right here, he's got his keyboard like off at an angle. His isn't that extreme. There's a kid all the way down on the far end who has his keyboard all the way at like a horizontal.
That's really cool.
They're going to be at that table right over there.
Public information?
Oh, I don't know. This isn't live, so it doesn't matter.
It's not live, but like you and I know.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not going to tweet it.
Awesome. What game do you play?
Smash Bros.
Who do you play? Is it embarrassing? Is it like Villager?
Yeah.
Is it Villager? Am I spot on? Oh my god. Is it the Ice Climbers?
No.
Is it Game & Watch?
No.
Is it Pichu?
No.
Is it Wario?
No.
I can keep going. I think I can name every character in the game.
I believe in you.
Is it, did I say the Ice Climbers already?
Yeah, you said them.
Is it them?
No.
Is it them a second time?
No.
Okay, alright. Oh, is it one of the Links?
Yes, it is.
Is it Toon Link?
It is.
Oh, that is pretty embarrassing. That is rough. Who do you play?
I'll give you $20 if you guess correctly right now.
First try? Give me a single hint.
It's an obscure character.
Obscure character.
Not played very often.
Is it Wii Fit Trainer?
Oh my god! Oh my.
I'm the interviewer for a reason, baby. I do what I do. I don't need the money. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. So Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and I forgot already. Are you all lying to me? Am I being gaslit? No. Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and you told me already. Oh, Toon Link. Yep. Where's my main support at? Who are we playing this weekend?
A lot of Brig.
A lot of Brig, really?
Brig Lucio, probably.
Brig Lucio, really? I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to give all your strategies. It's over under.
What do you mean over under?
Like, do we think we're gonna podium? Do we think we're gonna come in last place?
Not last place.
Not last place.
Certainly not last.
What about like 5th place?
That's doable.
That's doable? That's winnable? 3rd place? That's where things get dicey.
That's very doable.
Okay.
First place? That's very doable.
First place, very doable. Love it. That's the mindset. That's what he loves to hear. Yeah. Oh my god. Hold on. Cut the cameras. Well, who are you? Hello. Oh my god. I saw you earlier. I saw the back of your shirt. And I was like, I know that name. I know him. It's a quick play game. They Q-sniped each other at land. I thought it was a scrim. It's just unlucky. Are you actually a Villager player?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Villager being notably worse in Smash Ultimate than they were in Smash 4?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? You never played Smash 4?
No.
Oh, that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold that against you. Now, who do you play?
I play Robin.
Okay, wow. Did you know Robin has the lowest pick rate in the game?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come on, the LEDs, it looks just like Samus.
Huh?
Do you disagree?
I guess I can see
The
it.
Samus vibe. Show the controller to the camera. We're interviewing. This is recording, by the way. Surprise.
Not my controller.
Who do you play?
I play Peach.
Oh, wow, I like that. Who do you play?
I play the Shotos, mostly Kazi.
No, you lose against Kirby. That's just like a statistics thing.
Yeah. It's maybe.
This is a death match, and I think they're all in the same one. They're all on Icebox. Are they all in the same death match? Maybe. Who knows? I feel like none of them can hear me. I want to like approach somebody, but no one can hear. They all have both their headphones on.
What's up?
How do we think we're doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
What's your kitty?
We're looking at 10 and 6 right now.
Oh, hey, that's 3rd, dude. That's better than I expected. Who's bottom frag right now? I want to go talk to them. Ian? Hey, how do you think we're doing so far?
It could be better.
Could be better? You're one of those rough days?
Well,
Let's go find more people to harass. Yeah. Where's Boise State? Who's your favorite to play?
Oh, right now it's got to be either Chamber or Breach.
What country is Cypher from?
Oh, dude. It's Moroccan, right?
It is Morocco. Oh my God, I don't think anyone is gonna get that. Oh, you're good. You're good. All right, see you later. Let's go harass Boise State more. Who is this? What school is this? Boise?
This is Boise.
Oh man, that's okay. Boise still got really good odds. A Large Bagel, one of their tank players, Nerdy Bird, they're off tank. Both of them not here. A little bit scary, if we're being honest. Getting warmed up, getting ready to cast some players. No, not cast. Interview. Change your mindset. Change your mindset.
Words.
No, but last words until we come back.
Oh, okay.
Because we're leaving.
Enjoy.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Anything from you?
How are you doing, Polly?
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup. I am Septilence, and I get a really neat opportunity here. We get to interview Burns from E-United. Burns, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. We're on day 2 of the event. It's been a fantastic one. I ran into you yesterday, but we were running around like chickens with our heads off, and it has been, how has your time been here? What has this event kind of been like?
Yeah, it's great. I just love being in a passion pit, seeing all the college kids go at it. Reminds me of like an old school MLG event almost, but being like in the epicenter of the passion pit, seeing Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, and Smash, just it's amazing to see all of these schools compete against each other and get a shot to play on this main stage.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And tell us a little bit about kind of what is E United, right? Because we know that you're here, we know you're here to represent them, but for the people that don't know, what is E United?
Yeah, E United was founded in 2016. We're a professional esports organization. We've been in League of Legends, Overwatch, all the way to Battle Right, I think it was called back in the day. Right now in 2022, we are in Gears of War, Halo, Rocket League, PUBG, and announcing a new title tomorrow. I know, get the small intel here. So it's a lot of fun. I went pro in Call of Duty when I was younger. I ended up playing my last event under E United, switched in 2016, and I've been the GM ever since. So it's a true blessing to be able to stay with an organization for as long as I have, and we love giving back to the collegiate community. I actually graduated from Full Sail in 2013.
I was a little confused about the jersey. I was a little...
Yeah, so the Full Sail boys are out of the tournament, unfortunately, but I decided I would rep them today in their honor. Yeah, it's just great. I love working with younger individuals who are trying to find their path in esports, and these college kids are really showing what they're all about.
Yeah, so to be kind of an ex-pro player, where a collegiate scene at the time didn't exist, especially not to the scale right now, what is it like to see such high levels of success, such high levels of support for something that you weren't able to kind of get as much support in at the time, something that was looked down on a lot more?
Yeah, I'm extremely jealous. That's all I can say. Full Sail started their program in 2017. When I was there in 2011 and 12, it was just a bunch of nerds running around, just creating their own clubs. I was still striving to go pro, but now you have these opportunities to play on main stage, play in front of thousands of people. We just had locals back in the day. You would show up and play for like $200, $100. It was like lunch money.
Right.
Now these kids are playing for scholarships. They're playing for fame. They could pop off here and end up getting a sponsor for $10,000 or $20,000 from somebody.
Right.
So the opportunities are just endless at the moment.
And welcome everyone. We are back, ready to go with an interview from Army West Point Esports, where again, they took a dominating 2-0. Game 2, a little bit more struggle, but a lot more fun. Cassante in the mix, so much more with the Azir along with the Vel'Koz. But you know what? We had some Zach fun, and when Zach fun comes around, that they also buy a Medjais, we got to talk to the man, the myth, the Chaotic. Chaotic Wars is here with us for an interview to give us a little bit of insight here about how they're doing. Chaotic Wars, how you doing after that week 1 2-0 victory? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm super fired up. You know, getting to play, especially in a competitive setting. My blood is just wanting more.
For sure, especially like that game too, man. Your Zac play, you're able to do so much. I was so sad when your Medjais couldn't get fully stacked at the end. There, it was so close.
Yeah, I mean,
but
also playing as a tank role, I had to tank a lot of CC for my teammates. So I guess it wasn't ideal, but it's a try that counts.
Hey man, you only died twice, so I'd say it worked. And you had the space to go build Medjais. That's it. For all the good things in game 2, let's touch on something that didn't go quite as well there. Dragons.
Already know. Yeah.
You already know. So, want to talk about what happened at those Dragons there?
Honestly, better jungle loses, I'm gonna have to say.
Wow.
Yeah, well played.
Better
well
jungle
played.
loses. Nothing about the Ashe, the AD carry.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest.
Fair enough. It was pretty messy. It was pretty chaotic there. Fair enough. But generalizing that to game 2, it took quite a bit longer than game 1. Game 1, I think, was a 22-minute stomp there. Game 2 going 36 and a half plus minutes here. Now, you guys did win, but it took a lot more effort there. What kind of happened in game 2 that made it so much harder?
Well, obviously, not getting the soul early after securing 3 was obviously pushed us back farther. And in game 2, they had scaling champions who were I didn't really get to punish them early enough, such as like Ryze and Yone. Yeah, they just had their pop-off moments, which delayed the game even more. But eventually, we were able to close it out, which matters.
Fair enough. Yeah, and the win's a win at the end of the day. Your closing out was incredibly clean. And now, speaking of closing out games, you guys had a very disciplined game style throughout it, and you didn't give that many opportunities for the Kodiaks to really come back into it. We were kind of curious a little bit about who was shot calling there, because I know that you guys had Big Wheel and Miss Piggy's Revenge coming from the CLOL team joining you guys tonight. So were they doing the shot calling, or who was the in-game leader there?
It was in majority Miss Piggy. He was directing bot lane and many plays around the map. So I was able to follow with him, and we were able to group as a team and get those objectives that were in priority.
Yeah, definitely. It felt that way in Game 1 a lot when Miss Piggy's managed to fully stack his Magi there.
Yeah.
But, having played with them now, from what I understand, this is a temporary thing. They're not going to be on your roster for the rest of the season pretty much. So do you feel like, especially as a jungler, that you've learned a lot from, playing with them, and do you think it will help the team going forward when your full starting roster comes back in?
Absolutely. Usually when our roster, when our regular roster is here, I'm usually doing the shot calling. So being able to see how someone else leads it, I learn a lot from him. And looking to implement some of the things he does to my games.
Of course, it seemed like it was a very, very strong arm piece. I mean, game 2, you started to roll around, started being that big carry at the end of the day, so that was a lot of fun to watch. Of course, this is just week number 1, right? You and your squad have so much more to look forward to. You as the player, I mean, what are you most excited about playing here? And are there any other teams that you're interested, any other schools that maybe you've tangled with in the past that you're very interested in playing once again?
As a freshman, this is my first year here, so I'm just looking to have fun, to be honest. I'm also very competitive, so I have to find a good balance between those two.
Yeah, gotta keep that gotta keep the flame in check a little bit, right? And especially when the dragon gets stolen away from you, you gotta take the good with the bad, right? We gotta leave it there. So
you're just not gonna
taking a
let
look.
it down, are you?
Taking a look forward, though, any parting words that you're very excited for? Anyone that you want to shout out here with a great 2-0 victory? I mean, anyone that you want to give a lot of respect to?
Firstly, I want to shout out to the team. It's been such a great first semester and beginning of second semester with them. The environment that we have is second to none. Another shout out, Mr. Castro, who is in charge of our computer lab. He does an amazing job of keeping everything in check. And I want to shout out my friend back from home, or my friends back from home, Trey Dog. He's on the Akron esports team.
Hey.
Waltz, Beef Dog. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. You played a fantastic game. Can't wait to see what more Army West Point can do as well. And again, congratulations on your 2-0 victory here today.
Thank you so much.
Of course, with that will end our broadcast here today. But before we go, we do have to talk about some awesome action that's coming up this weekend, because normally the weekday is all we got. But esports, there's so much more going on here coming up in the next couple of days. And specifically tomorrow, starting at 12 p.m. EST, will be the CECC West Regional Qualifiers for Valorant and Overwatch, with Valorant starting at 12 p.m. EST. So, of course, if you're not really a MOBA fan, if you're more of the FPS genre, you'll want to check that one out. So I don't think, I'll be casting that one, but I will absolutely be tuning in, because I mean, good lord, the CECC has so much fantastic action, and for these teams that are just now kicking in, getting back into the swing of things, it's so much fun seeing these players really get to hype themselves up and give themselves a shot at winning that golden trophy. So with that, go ahead, tune in tomorrow. But with that, we'll say goodbye here today. My name is Orbital. With me has been a random minion caster, and we will see you all next time.
Try to go pro while being it's hand in hand instead of those two kind of battling kind of matchups. So if somebody's trying to go pro, right, they're like, Burns, I want to be you one day. I want to be the GM of EU United one day. What is that first step to really take it from a hobby to a passion, to a job?
Yeah, I think I've told this story a lot, but it's really, I thought about going pro every night before I went to bed.
Right.
Like, I lived and breathed Call of Duty for years. It was my life. I had to skip dinner sometimes. I had to skip family functions, and my family didn't really understand, but it was what I wanted to do, and it all worked out. But at the end of the day, you always need to kind of be organized. You have to have the ability to not put all of your eggs in one basket. So even though it worked out for me, there are so many opportunities in esports. There's being a caster or interviewing people. There's working in production. There's helping people get waters. Like, literally, there are so many opportunities. So, oh, this crowd's awesome.
They're going crazy, dude. They stayed on their last life right now.
Off subject, Smash, regardless if it's middle school, high school, college, it pops off all the time. I love it.
Well, Burns, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, guys.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's gonna jumped into it. Corner judges go for 1, 2, dip. He needs more. They're doing even more here.
You gotta touch the point. Mr. College walks it in. Joy Boy is gonna drop.
Knife him.
Right out in front.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, running.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the ECAC Top Plays of the Week. I am Septilance, and I'm super excited to walk through these with you so you can see all of the great moments we are getting out of collegiate esports. One of my favorite things about these seasons is as they go on, as the years continue to pass, the skill ceiling just gets higher and higher, and the teams get better and better. Starting things off in Week 1 and 2, these teams came out the gate swinging. Let's take a look at what they were ready to bring out in these early weeks. Valorant is a game all about risk versus reward, and Sin from NYIT wanted to show us just how much he was willing to risk to get that great reward of a round win.
Sort of forced to pop off, maybe get a little bit more sniper play, but these direct, tight angles make it tough. You have Axorus that actually gets a wallbang headshot onto Prime. Oh, that timing on the paranoia works so well.
Yo, give it up for the util, bro. Sin's gonna pick up 3 into the site. It's a lurk on its way from the chamber, but unless you're gonna spam through this box, you're not getting anything done, and Panda won't even let him get that far.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that can be decided in milliseconds, and Waka, one of the best players from SUNY Canton A Squad, wanted to show us just what they can do with only a second and a single stock on the board.
Cena, sledge option going to be charging for Smash going a little early. They're not quite getting what you want. Drop shield after first hit, and Pin getting hit by the kick. High percent. There is the stun into Claw. That Claw could have been charged for a lot longer. Oh my goodness, that's a forwarder into stage with the stage spike and then upping immediately after. What a sick.
1 point in Rocket League can never make a team feel comfortable, but Driftsy wanted to show us that not only was he going to pick the pace up, but he wasn't going to let his team down.
Defensive test with flying colors, though they couldn't get out, and that is the important part at the moment. Clears a must for UA, and it's just not in the cards at the moment.
Dripsy! Dripsy connects off the backboard! What a shot! I watched it unfold slowly! You stopped speaking at just the right moment.
Valorant is often called a team-based shooter, but sometimes it can't just be about the team. Sometimes you gotta have those hero plays. Spec wanted to spray and pray and was actually able to save the day for SVSU, tying up the series 7-7.
Hard B push here, 2 Omen smokes coming out. 1, oh, Spec just finds 3. What? Spraying through the smoke?
Oh, one spec. That's not legal, man. That's not legal. This is match day 2 of the ECAC league. You can't be doing that right now. It just goes with the code.
Here in this clip, Fanshawe finds themselves with their backs against the wall, 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're desperate to take down Wake Forest. They don't have anything to get through this team, they don't have any weapons on the field, but with Jackie Moon in the wings, at least they had a sniper.
Apparently. Guys gonna believe all the shots. Oh, a sniper! Jackie Moon from about midway through. What a shot right here from Jackie.
Wow, good eye sniper. Yes, sir. Jackie Moon puts this on the right side. A little bit more to the left. This one would have been...
Here in this clip, we're going to get a great moment from a Pac-Man, and as a Pac-Man player, I was super excited to see it. We're going to hear a lot of praise from our commentators giving Mosey those compliments of choosing Snake against Pac-Man, a great counter pick. They were super excited to see a Snake on the field, but even without their blessing, trollery does not yield.